GPT 5.2 just dropped today, and OpenAI says that it can actually code for 1 hour straight, or even more in some cases from some of the reports like Matt Schumer, and there's been a lot of people who had some early access testing. Thankfully, I've been able to get access to the model right now, and we're just going to go ahead and play with it. We're going to use a couple different IDEs that we're going to test with. Actually, we're going to primarily use Cursor for testing out this model. As we can see right here, it says it's currently GPT 5.2 is available. It says OpenAI's most capable model with advanced reasoning and try on complex tasks. We're also going to take a look at the model inside of ChatGPT here, because they also have the new dropdown for Pro. And since it's supposed to think for a very long time, we're going to try to see if we can have it refine some of our tasks and try to see if this thing is just the real deal. I know it's been kind of blowing away some of the benchmarks, and I thought this would be a really good time for us to kind of take a look and try to cook together. So I want to kind of let you in on something real quick. I'm going to let you know this is going to be going on for a couple hours, totally live. So you can just drop in the comments right now. And since GPT 5.2 Pro is supposed to run for multiple hours of complex tasks, I want to do some real tests here. And I'm not going to make a calculator. I'm not going to make a snake game. I will be making a game though. But I have a full SaaS spec that Opus 4.5 actually wrote for me for the Canoe Club. And that is hooked up with a Convex database, Clerk authentication, and that whole stack. And we're going to be doing that inside of Cursor. We're also going to hand off this spec to GPT 5.2 and see how far it actually gets. And then for the second test that we're going to go ahead and be doing as well is that we're going to be building a multiplayer soccer game. So I saw this cool test from Kiro and I thought, oh, that'd be really cool to see if Cursor can actually do that. So this will just be a 5v5. And then the best part is I want to see if 10 players can play at once. I want to hand this off to the live stream because for those who don't know, I'm doing like a 12 days to Christmas countdown. And I want to see if I can have an autonomous agent build an app or build a multiplayer game like this live, but can also make it interactive. So by Christmas Day, I want to have this whole live stream running where people can make comments and play the multiplayer soccer game live with everyone else. So this is like part one of this whole thing. And I'll be streaming every single day until we hit Christmas. And by Christmas Day, I should just let this thing run. That'd be really cool. So you got to stay tuned in to lock for that. I also want to see how complex this is, obviously. And this is the types of tasks that AI coding tools usually kind of totally mess up. So we're going to see it all here live. I will have timestamps, so you can go back on this live stream and go back to those specific pieces if you're just tuning in. As far as Cursor, they just shipped version 2.2 yesterday with debug mode. And today they have this new design mode where you can actually visually edit the layouts. So that's another thing that we'll be checking out on this stream as well. A lot of crazy updates. So GPT 5.2 is available as a model inside of Cursor like we were showing a little earlier. And so we're also going to be testing the new model inside of this new ID because both have just dropped. And not only am I going to do this as an additional thing, if you stay locked in through this whole stream, I'm going to walk you through my entire prompting workflow. So we're going to show you how I use Opus 4.5 to yap in my specs and have it like refine and ask me better questions to build these things out. And then I'm going to hand that off to GPT 5.2 to see if we can actually build it, which would be super crazy. So this whole thing, we're basically going to go from like idea to spec implementation live. And if y'all are ready to lock in for this, y'all need to type in AGI in the chat because it's just going to be so crazy here. And there's already people been playing around with this model who says GPT 5.2 is pretty good. Yo, what's up? What's going on, Alex? Yo, let's go. I think everyone does the question of the day, does GPT 5.2 actually cook? And I think we're going to try to see if we can answer that here live because this is about to be really crazy. And this is what I was talking about with Matt Schumer. He was, if you don't know, Matt Schumer has phenomenal reviews of these models and he has a whole deep dive. And I highly suggest, and this is kind of what kind of got me to think about what we should be doing because there's a lot of stuff here. You're probably going to see all these YouTube videos for these benchmarks, so I'm not going to go over that. We're just going to get straight on into this. So first thing we have to do is make sure we try the new models and update different things. So I just wanted to make sure that I showed this type of thing here. So it shows the complex task, try GPT 5.2. So we should be able to just select it right here in the dropdown. So it's already selected for us. So 5.2, I just want to see what else we got here. So we have the little brain mode. So that means it's going to be good for the extended thinking. Inside of Cursor, the 5.2 model looks like it actually has the 272,000 token context window with medium reasoning. Can we add some more models? Let's see here. 5.2. All right. So 5.2 has a lot of stuff that we can add. So the normal one is going to be medium, but we can also do like high And then we can also do low and so forth. So if we can do fast, I like a lot of the fast models. So if we just go to GPT-5.2, and if we just do fast, no, okay, GPT-5.2, we can do high fast. So if you do a fast version of the model, it's actually going to eat up 2x more of your cost, FYI. So we can try one of those. We could try like high fast, and then I could try extra high fast. That's crazy. And then I think we'll just try medium. And then I think we'll just try fast as well, fast. Okay. So we have a lot of these things. We're fasting. And then why don't we just do low, low, fast? Low and low, fast. Okay. I feel like we're just doing everything. Why not? Just turn all of the models. Okay. We got a lot of models to select. Just GPT 5.2 default. We're just going to try that first to get go. And so now that we have this here, I think it wants me to install the update. I'm just going to go ahead and do that and make sure we get the update installed. So Austin Rep says, we're cooking with AGI. Codex CM? Yeah, what's going on, man? A lot of fire up in here. We got AGI in the chat. Yeah, that's what's up. Glad to see you cooking with 5.2 debug mode and cursors. So that's going to be a really fun one for us to cook with. This was my friend's project Snap Studio, which I just updated last night. I'll have to show you more on that soon because that's just an e-commerce site, which I made with Next.js using Lee Rob's template, actually. He has a Next.js store template. And off of that, I was able to make a Shopify store from it. So if you go to snapstudio.com, just FYI, kind of taking a little side venture. This is a Next.js site, which is awesome. And then you can actually like shop now and then go to it's like super fast and snappy. And you get all the Next.js hotness from it that you normally would if you're doing this. Because you can never get a Shopify store to load this fast if you don't build it with Next.js. And then so when you add the card, it does the whole thing and you can add the card and check out and all that cool stuff. And it does the conversions depending on where you're from. So totally sidetracked, but this is the app that we're going to be building here. So the first one I thought we would take a look at, and I kind of want to give you a quick preview because I already did a lot of the prompting here, but this is how I use Opus 4.5 to generate the spec that we need to hand off to Cursor and these other apps here. So what I did is like, walk me through the details. So I have, because of the Outrigger Canoe app. So here's some of the starting insights that I've been able to just transcribe. So this is where I use Wispr Flow and I just yap all my thoughts. And I make sure I put these little angle brackets here. And so this is everything I wanted in the app. And then at the very bottom, make sure you add this part to Opus 4.5 and make sure you have extended thinking enabled. And this says, feel free to ask me more questions so we can better understand this app and how it should be architectured so we can give the final markdown instructions to the AI coding agent to build. Once you do that, this is probably like the most impressive thing about the Opus model is that it tries to think through and tries to come back with questions that it needs to do. So it actually starts to go through each of the sections and think through and keep them in its memory, which is really impressive. And so then I just yap back my answers. As you can see, this is a pretty long process and this could take us a little while, which is kind of why I just wanted to kind of do a quick overview. For the game that we're going to develop, which I'm going to show you a little bit later on, we're going to go through this kind of manually, but I just wanted to give you an overview of what this looks like for an existing app. We're going to submit this app into Cursor right now and then just try to see what 5.2 can do for us to start building this for us. And then we'll try to see if we can track this out. Because I've never done this before and I thought it'd be kind of cool to do it live with y'all. Because this is kind of the way I want to play with these models so you can kind of see what I'm doing. You can see we've done multiple turns as it continues to ask me more questions. And then when it finally comes back for the spec, it actually builds out this whole spec file here. And so this actually gives us the exact like entity relationships and everything like that we need for this app. And if you want to see a quick preview, I went into base 44 because I'm just trying this out right now. And I just thought, what if I just put this entire spec into this app? Can it actually make it for me? And base 44 actually did the whole thing, which was kind of crazy. I was not expecting it to do this just with one prompt, but it basically built out this entire SaaS for me. So like this is all already built out for me. So I already have like, this is kind of what I'm expecting like a generic SaaS to look like. So I can add a new like evening, morning, crew, let's see. And I hit create group. So when I create a group here, I can add people into the group. So if like I want to create a session or I can see what members are in here, I can add members. People can actually sign up for the app and go right in here. And I could select, specific day to go out in the morning or something like that. I mean, I know it's not the morning, but this is the whole thing. It's like once you have a boat, you can assign the crew to the actual seats here. And then you can actually see if I'm available or if I'm not. and then add people from the bench onto the actual positions in here. So I can assign Fernando, I could assign someone else to, a seats and so forth. And that's kind of the premise of the app that we're building, is just trying to, we have myself who's here, but then also the person who's an admin, who's in charge of the group, and then also make, within the group scheduling, what type of boat is available. So with that here, and this is just kind of me checking this out. I just kind of want to show you what we're going to get into. I've got the Convex starter thing already going. So now we already have the app kind of running. So if I do bun dev, and then, okay, cool. So I have this thing going here. And if I do command D, I'm using Ghosty, by the way, bun Convex. Okay, cool. And that's how you're able to see. So I should be able to run this app here. And so right now, what I've done so far for the Canoe Club app is I've already set up the starter kit. This is from Convex, Next.js, and Clerk. So this already kind of links everything together so that you can sign in. And I already kind of did some of that stuff to get us started with. And now that we have the base prompt, we should be able to now go inside of Cursor. And then I'm just going to go ahead and create a new chat. And so I like to use the agent window here. I'm just going to clear out all close others to the right. Okay. I'm going to close all these out and I'm going to go into this view here. So in this view, we have our actual app and we have GPT 5.2 selected. So I'm just going to go with the default here. And I'm just going to just leave it here in this type of mode to let it see if it can kind of implement our plan. I don't know if I should go in plan mode or not, but let's just kind of try out the regular agent mode since we already spent a lot of time building this. And so let's go ahead and back to the prompt here. This is the entire thing that we want to build it out. You know what? I'm just going to go into plan mode and I'm just going to have it go here. And then here is the spec I've already built out for the Canoe Club app. I want you to review it and help me write the app. Yeah, I want you to review it so we understand what, so we can break this development down into phases, to shippable phases, into phases. I'm going to say my preferred way of working is to work on the first chunk of code, do some manual testing and verification in any iterations, as well as any bug fixes. Once that's complete, move off to the next thing and kind of go on from there. So if we can think about this entire app in these different phases of work, that'll be super helpful so that we can make sure we accomplish our goals for completing the entire spec. It's quite a big spec, as you will see. And yeah, I think that's it. Okay, cool. So then I'm going to hit Shift Enter a couple times and paste this whole thing in here. I probably should just put it as a file, but I don't know. I'm really curious to see what it does. Okay. I'm also going to separately want to have a file or a documentation folder in which we would have the entire spec with different phases outlined, and we want to keep track of them and make sure that when tasks are complete, we are able to hand off to the next task and reference them in the next chats and so forth. Okay, cool. So that's a pretty big thing. We're going to use the GPT 5.2, this one guy here. And I think max mode's already enabled. Cool. So that way we get max context window. And let's just go ahead and send it. We're going to full send. This is going to be pretty massive. And so while that's going there, let me just kind of catch up with the comments real quick. Interesting. I wonder how it competes with the front end with Gemini 3. That's what I'm really curious about, because I heard that the design's supposed to be really good nowadays. So I don't really know, but we'll see. It's insane for UI design. Wow. Yo, what's good? Hey, from the UK, how's GPT 5.2? We're about to see through this whole live stream and see how, can it really cook? I feel like this would be kind of insane. So for the people who have actually not used it, it's just not, it's not just benchmarks. Okay. Okay, cool. We'll see. I was just about to sleep in the UK. I guess not now, bro. That's what's weird. Like some of the Cursor team apparently is in the UK right now because they're launched Cafe Cursor. And I don't think they're sleeping right now. Cook. We are so cooking right now. So it uses Gemini, but has design model kill my designs. Okay. Oh, I think we're referencing something else. So I gave this whole thing into spec mode into Cursor, and we're just seeing how it goes. Got it. Next, I'll quickly scan the existing repo to see what's already implemented. Okay. I've confirmed the repo is basically the starter. Okay. So it's done this next thing. So for the first shippable version, how should we join? How should people join a group? Invite only, open join plus requests. I like this one here. Oh, that's cool. And then for the crew rotation in the first version, what do you want? Manual assignment only? Or basic round robin suggestions still allow admin for override. So I think we want manual assignment only, admin drag and drop from the bench. No fairness algorithm yet. Yeah, I think we'll do the first one because this one kind of torn between the two. I'll just get the first one working. Let's see. That's awesome. Are you going to check cursor or droid as well? So I think Nick Dayako, I might also try droid as well. Cause like, I mean, to me, it doesn't harm me to like clone this app and try to see if I can build it in parallel. It took me a little while for this one to get going, but maybe for the video game, I'll probably have 2 different repos going. So that could be a really fun addition. So maybe for the video game idea, which I'm about to drop, I'll have that going as a separate thing. So maybe I'll do like cursor versus droid or something. So that'll probably come in the next like 30 minutes or 15 minutes. I just want to make sure I get this kicked off, and then that'll be really fun to kind of check out. Gift me subscription. I love anyways, but your suggestions with Opus 4.5 and Codex 5.1 is awesome. Real SAM Ariatic. Yeah. Gift me subscription. I would say go try it out. I think you can try Opus on the web, which is what most people do. You can get started with that $20 a month, get pretty far away. Was referencing Super Design app. Oh, I'll have to check that out. That'd be really cool. Okay, so this basically made a new phased design here. And I'm wondering if it lost any details on my original spec, you know? So I'm just really curious here. So this is the current repo baseline where we're starting from. And so I'm really curious because what I should do now is I'm just going to like redo this like spec thing because I feel like it lost a lot of like the meat and the sauce here. This is what Opus does really well is like you can see how comprehensive this plan is. So like I want this thing to be referenced every single time here. And so I really don't like this output right now. So let's just go ahead and try something different. So let me just go ahead and hit like a file right here and hit a new folder. And I'm just going to say documentation/plan. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to put something like that. And then I'm going to just make a new file, call it v1 spec.md. And then what I'm going to do is just paste this thing here from Opus in here. And I'm going to save. And then what I'm going to do is go back to here. And then I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is just say like, let's just kind of split out the chunks and just work on phase 1. Have the plan in v1 spec. And I need you to help me plan for phase 1. Okay. So it's clear to me, I think, that maybe we should just work on phase 1, whatever that is. And I'm going to let the language model kind of help me decide that here. So I have the plan. I need you to help me plan for phase 1. Okay. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do. So I'm just basically going to redo the entire thing that I just did there. And I'm just going to have it read from the spec file. And the spec file that Opus generated, by the way, is extremely comprehensive. It's about 600. It's almost like 1,000 lines, right? 600 and something lines. That's crazy huge. But it's really, really, really comprehensive, which is super nice, you know? So that's kind of that there. Let's see if I can kind of go back here. So I just kind of deleted that. So what it says, what I'll do next is I'm going to read your spec file, which is this thing, and identify a clean set of development phases, then plan phase 1, build manual test. Okay. Okay, the spec's clear and fairly complete. Next, I'll quickly inspect. So you can see the difference that we had here just by like giving it too much information for the context window. And then now just kind of saying, here's the file, go ahead and kind of read this and then figure out what we need to do next. And so this is probably like the preferred way to building. And I'm just trying different prompting methods and maybe you can learn something as I'm kind of going here, right? What should phase one include? Can we phase everything else later? So phase one should include the minimum vertical slice, auth profiles, join sessions, above the fold, everything in the minimal plus pinned announcements. Yeah, I want to do everything. We want to go beast mode on this thing. Okay, cool. So let's see what's up. Okay. ChatGPT 5, any good with development on backend? So that's what we're sort of going to find out. But the backend that I use is Convex. And the reason why I use Convex is because that tooling is already set up for us. And so we don't have to write a lot of like infrastructure stuff for like WebSockets and syncing and all this cool stuff. It's already built in, which is nice. And then because the database relationships and everything are already in code, it has a really good idea just by looking at your code, what your actual database is doing. And so there is a lot of really neat stuff that's already built into Convex, and I would highly suggest them if you haven't had a chance to. Cool. What's going on, brother? See you. Good to see you back at work. Yeah, I think I'm going to try to see if I could do this every day. That'd be really cool. What took you so long? I was just live the other day. I don't know if you were watching earlier in the week and stuff. I noticed GPT 5.2 is one-shot implementation plans and enhancements without errors. That is crazy if it could do that. I mean, we have like these massive plans. So here's MVP phase one. Phase one delivers, assigned in Paddler can join and create a group. An admin can create a session and pin announcements. No goals explicitly deferred. Phase one breakdown. Implementation is here. So it's going to do all this stuff. Front end and minimal design. And the keys we'll touch first is this. And then it already has an idea of my Convex database. Enable Clerk JWT auth for Convex. And okay, cool. So one of the last things I want to do is I want you to use exa code and use ref for search MCP and exa code to make sure we follow the Convex conventions and AI rules. Okay. Let's go ahead and go there. So what I want to do next is basically, because Convex has AI rules files and there's a bunch of nice articles already written on that stuff, it's always good to have like an MCP come in here. It looks like the cutoff date though for GPT 5.2 has now bumped up to, I think it's August 31st or something like that, 2025. So it's not that far off as far as cutoff date. So it should be fairly familiar with Convex now, but it's always a good idea to go back in. I don't know what the training set is, and sometimes I like to try to feed it in this documentation. We can already see the stuff that it's searching for in our plan mode, and it's only going to help the agent to get that context. And the reason why I also choose ref.search for an MCP is because of that. Like, it's not going to waste a bunch of tokens. I heard that Context 7 just made some updates for context efficiency, but I'm not really sure. Like, I haven't tested that out personally, but the one I've been using a ton has been ref.tools. I have a video on that. If you haven't had a chance, go check out my channel on YouTube. I have a video that says exa and ref, the two MCPs like you must use. I have those. You can set those up, and I walk you through how to set them up in Cursor, Claude Code, in Droid, in Codex. To set up an MCP is all different flavors, and I walk you through that entire step. But right now, it's basically reading through the Convex docs. It's reading through the Clerk docs. It's going to read through all the documentation that we need to kind of hook this stuff up to make sure it's hooked up correctly. But if you're used to working with MCP servers that grab documentation, usually it'll just grab the entire file. Like for the AI SDK, it's like thousands and thousands of lines. And so that's usually not good because it feels like you're just dumping everything into your front lawn just to look for like a fork, right? Where if you like order an Uber, say I only want a fork, they're going to go to the store, grab the fork, and then deliver it to you. So that's like ref.tools in a lot of ways, if you know what I mean. So that's kind of what it is here. So now we're going to get what I call like enrichment in our plan and have some of the conventions and stuff built in. So this is already doing a lot of good work for us, which is really nice. I guess one of the advantages of these GPT 5.2 models are this additional grounding that you can have. So the more truth and the more context that are very specific, the better. So we've already got our first sweep of our context to our structure here, and then the second sweep here. So this is a similar technique we're going to do for the game as well, but I'm just kind of showing you what this is already looking like. And I'm just curious to see how Cursor is actually handling this inside. And so we're kind of witnessing this together, and I appreciate everyone who's been, stopping by. Obviously, like if you share this with a friend, this actually helps the channel go a long way. And you can, smash a thumbs up and stuff like that, which is also like the best thing ever. But that gauges some interaction as well. How good is 5.2 in UI UX? I think we're going to find out pretty soon as far as what that's going to do. Anyways, could be a picnic problem in a chair, not a computer. I'm not sure what you're referencing, but we'll have to figure that out. Convex has been changing stuff lately. They've released some ESLint rules. So if you're using the latest version of Convex, you might just want to check that out. Ooh, that'd be really cool. That'd be really cool. Okay. Cool. Oh yeah. All right. So look at this. Wow. This is awesome. So we have a lot of stuff that's been updated here. So let's take a look at our plan. I pulled the concrete Convex rules. This repo enforces the new function syntax, always validators and prefer index avoid. Okay. Next, I'll pull the Convex Clerk doc page itself, and I'll update phase 1 to make to bake these conventions in auths, helpers, required indexes per table. Like that's an interesting auth to Z. I've never heard of this. And whether implemented as the action and cast writes via mutations. So this is pretty cool. So we basically have had our plan enriched from the MCPs, and that way we save extra steps later on in the future because now the agents have what they need. And this is a really cool technique, especially for the GPT models, because they love to follow instructions and they will follow what's in their training set. But if we give them these extra pieces of documentations, now that you have a structured plan, it fills in the rest of those details. And then now when we just say go build with Cursor, it should be able to fill it in and then kind of check its work because now it has all these different steps it can do. So let's go ahead and take a look at this plan again. So you can see how much bigger the plan has gotten just for the first phase, which is what we really, really want anyways. So here's our goals and what's going to get delivered, and then non-goals explicitly deferred. And so here's the convex conventions and AI rules we follow baked into phase 1. So this is exactly telling it, what it should be doing for this specific task. And here's the breakdown so we can work sequentially. Phase 1, this plan. Phase 2, this is awesome. And then the implementation plan for phase 1 as well. So I really like this plan so far. And what's interesting is here it talks about the data model and the schema. So with this is replace the starter schema with this phase 1's tables. And so here's the tables that it's going to replace. And this was also referenced in our plan, but it's pulling it back in and it's telling it how to arrange itself based off the documentation that it read about how Convex works. And then the backend functions with auth and indexes. So that'd be really interesting. Here we are. Okay, this looks pretty good. Awesome. Okay, wow, cool. I like all the stuff. Front end routes, cool. So let's go ahead and see if we can build this app. And then here's the to-dos that we have in order. Okay, cool. So I'm going to save the plan. I think we could save the plan by hitting this little save to workspace. I'm going to quickly go into the view here, and I'm going to just check in the exact code we have so far because we have a couple of different things that we've added in. So I'm going to make sure that this stuff gets checked in, save this thing before we move forward because I want to have a point that we start with before anything happens. All right, so now here comes the thing we're going to go ahead and do. So we're going to do GPT 5.2 plan here, and that's currently set to max mode. And I'm just going to go ahead and go build. So now we're going to start building with GPT 5.2. So for those who are just watching and coming in, we started off with the 4.5 Opus mega plan. That kind of did multiple turns here. And now we're currently in GPT 5.2. We're going to implement this plan based off of a bunch of MCPs and searches and so forth like that. We're currently using the new agent window, which is up here. You can always switch back and forth between the editor and the agent window. And so we should start seeing some of the code changes come in, and we're going to see how well this does. We've already used 82,000 tokens just for this conversation, this back and forth, the MCP tool calls, and all that good stuff. So that's quite a bit of documentation and research as you saw all those URLs being checked. And we still have room left over for this first phase of implementation. So I'm really curious to see how this goes. And if this doesn't turn out well, we'll just see what happens next and so forth. So, hey, Ray, how's it going, man? It's good to see you in the chat. I'm trying GPT 5.2 Pro right now on a problem that 5.1 Pro failed at. Oh, I'm really curious. And I want to see your video on this update. That'd be really cool. 2 weeks ago, no matter how hard I tried, I really hope it figures it out. Oh, man, that'd be really cool. I'm really curious to see how that comes out. If you haven't had a chance, Ray has a really great channel where he talks about all these models and all this news and all this latest stuff that comes out. So definitely go ahead and check him out right there. RAMJAD. So that'd be really cool. How to use it so expensive? I think you're talking about the latest model, I think. Convex auth was hard for my AI agents to figure out, but I created a special Convex agent with Convex rules and a new ASLine. Ooh, Lisa, yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. I think that'll be, yeah, I think you had that in the, did you share that in the Discord? Maybe? I know you created like a different skills thing because that'd be really cool. So yeah. So basically Convex is a BE out of the box. Cool stuff. We'll try it out in the morning. We'll save a ton of time building new projects. Oh my God, Convex? There's a lot of people who've already tried Convex in the chat. We've been on this for a little while, people who started. So that's what's up. Thanks for putting me on game with Convex. The best decision this year for sure. Dude, yeah. It's been a while. So this is so good. Cool. Cool. Let's see. As far as authentication, the reason why I choose Clerk for authentication is because a lot of that tooling and stuff is already built in for us. So we don't have to worry too much about, like writing each specific type of, how a JWT. You should learn how to do it if you haven't done this stuff before, but a lot of the tooling and stuff is built in, which makes it really easy for us to kind of do our things here. So as of now, let's see what has changed so far. I think we have auth config that's changed, and then we have the middleware stuff that's coming in, and it's just continuing to work here. So let's just go ahead and hit review. So these are the only two changes that have landed so far. So next I'm placing the starter numbers with the schema phase 2. So, okay, review, keep all. This looks good. Okay. So I think it's still implementing if I remember correctly. I don't know if it stopped for me, but it's already at 90,000 tokens. And so it completed 1 of 5 working. Next, I'm placing the starter. So I don't know what's going on. Did it just stop? Looks good. Continue. LG to me. I don't know. Like if it didn't ask me any questions. It's like, next I'm doing this. I think it just wants me to review it. I think that's what it's actually saying. It didn't ask me to, but it just says, looks good to me, bro. I don't know. Like, I guess, like, but it's cool. Yeah, we're at 90,000 tokens so far out of 272,000. So I think Cursor has a way of like, it's probably like 400,000 tokens, but they probably reserve half of them for all their internal agentic work. But I always like to kind of monitor this every so often to see like what they're doing. Because some people were saying that once it gets so big, it'll like automatically try to compress itself. And I'm wondering if it does that in different phases of work. So it looks like every single type of step here, it's going to do something before it does the next thing here. Okay, so yeah, now it's continuing the work. The app will continue the work. The schemas provides more precise TypeScript issues. Okay, started to do is starting here. Okay, so we have to kind of tell it to do the next thing. Okay, that's interesting. Huh, that's wild. It hasn't impressed me yet, though it is smart though. Okay, so that'd be really interesting to see what that does. GPT is awful at coding. I only use Opus and Gemini 3. I'm curious to see what you're kind of cooking up with there. So Isaac, how's it going, man? What's going on? Yo, this guy cooks. Slow week for AI hug. Oh man, no, dude, it's so crazy. I just joined the stream. Too sleepy to continue, but thoughts on GPT 5.2 so far, man. I would say check in tomorrow. I'm gonna have the full-on live stream with all the timestamps and stuff. I gotta head out of here in about an hour and a half or so. And so we're going to have a lot more information on like what's going on. So we're going to have I'm going to try to do a game coming up now that this is kind of going. I got a little bit of feel right now for what Cursor is doing. So we're able to see that like at these different phases, Cursor is going to stop and say, hey, are we good now before it wants to continue? I think it just like there probably is a way to make it continue forever, which would be so cool to just kind of turn around and just let it do its thing. But it's kind of, it's basically doing its coding tasks. It takes a little while. There is a mode called fast, and that I think that prioritizes a request. I don't know if it makes the model faster, and I don't know what the actual latency is here right now that we're waiting for, because there is some type of reasoning here, and it's probably everyone else just slamming it, but I'm not really entirely sure. But I just thought I would just try this out first. So that's what's up. Cool. Slow week. It's been crazy for me. Yeah, it's been kind of insane actually, to be honest. Yeah, as far as everyone kind of going in here. So Okay, so I think this is a really good question here from, I wanted to ask you, I'm building a web app where we have the data, but are not fetching the real time. But yeah, in each 5 minutes using Postgres now, should I move to Convex? So I guess you want to ask yourself, like, what's more important for your app? Is it just the real-time reactivity, or is 5 minutes okay still for your use case for the business? Because once you start kind of changing something or moving to a different framework because you hear someone talk about it, it may not be the best for your use case. And I started with Convex, and usually when I'm starting here, it gives me a lot of boilerplate stuff. If I'm doing like crazy, like somebody was doing like advanced trading where literally every second, as far as a hedge fund, they're depending on all this data to come in and they're like crunching crazy amounts of data. It's like, Convex is probably not good for that right now because you're throwing in terabytes of data like super fast in like, hours. And so, but if you have something much more calm, like a basic app where a lot of people are hitting it and you want your UI and like, 1,000 people to connect, over these WebSockets and have some real-time streaming stuff, that could be really cool, So it just depends more on app architecture. And you could even have a conversation with Opus or GPT 5.2 Pro inside of ChatGPT, and then they could probably get you some research and figure some of that stuff out too. So that'd be really cool. Let's go ahead and review all the changes right now. So we have the auth component here. We have the middleware. We have some of the schema stuff flying in. This looks cool. Yeah, this is kind of the stuff that we spec'd out. Keep the raw focus forecast. Okay, this is pretty cool. So validators are coming in now, which is pretty cool. So we have the values. This is awesome. Wow. And then we have the auth components here. So all of this is all the backend in Clerk. Require view user ID. This is cool. Okay, so then we have users internal as well. So would be the internal ID. And then we have the Convex stuff here for the view validator. And like these are the different functions. So to keep the email in sync with identity, user can still override via profile if desired. Cool. This looks good. We have memberships as well for each of the different groups. This is actually coding up quite a bit. And so far we've only used basically 9,000 more tokens here. And it's still kind of thinking through at each step. It's thinking through, and let's see what it's thinking. Creating membership functions. I'm considering whether I need to format the lines, but it looks like my next steps are clear. I'll be implementing the membership groups. So it's pretty cool. I like to see some of the internals that it's thinking about. It's like, yo, what are you thinking about? So we're kind of taking a look at that there. Let's see. Anything else? Let's see. We're just kind of letting it do its thing. Developer speed with 10x Convex for sure. Yeah. GLM and so there's also a new model from ServiceNow. I forget what it's called. ServiceNow. I'll look it up. ServiceNow AI model. It's open source, and I heard LDJ talk about it today on the Thursday AI podcast. And ServiceNow AI model. And he said it's really, really good. Where is it? What's the model? Bro, they need to up their search. This is not good. Oh no, I can't. I feel like I'm spamming through something. Oh, Claude. Okay, I'm going to use Claude to search. Use Exa to look up the latest ServiceNow AI model that I can run on my own machine that I think it is open source. Yeah, I think one of these models are supposed to be really, really good. And this is the one he called out, like out of all of them, that he said could do some really good agentic work. But I think obviously like the latest versions from Mistral, you can actually run like on a 3090. And, what's really funny is like that's supposed to be on par with Sonnet 4 actually. So, Sonnet 4 like a year ago was so fire and everyone's like, oh my God, this is changing. Like you can run that now, like basically on your laptop in a funny way. Apriel, Apriel 1.6 Thinker. And it just with this one. Okay. This is really cool. So it just dropped on December 10th, like yesterday. Damn, we're like, this stuff moves crazy fast. So it's 15 billion parameters, multimodal reasoning, achieves frontier level performance on a single GPU. Yo, I need to buy some ServiceNow stock. ServiceNow stock price. Oh my God. What have they been doing? Okay, so they've been taking a little bit of a dip over the last year. And then, oh my gosh. Wow, okay, not bad. I think they're going to blow up. I think no one's talking about them right now because this just literally dropped. They're so like out of the news cycle, but I think this is going to change. It's part of developed in partnership with NVIDIA. Wow. Oh, IT, HR. Oh, so for my lawyer people and IT people, not even lawyer, just HR, you can just run this privately. That makes sense. Oh, you can get this on Hugging Face? Ooh, wow. Okay. So related models are Nemotron, text-only variant, and StarCoder. Oh, I remember StarCoder. So the 15-bit parameter size is actually engineered to run on a single GPU, which makes it practical for local deployment. Pretty solid if you want. That's what's up. That's what's up. I love this type of stuff. Yeah, thank you guys for dropping the comments. I really appreciate everyone kind of like coming in here, doing some stuff. So let's see what's going on with our things here. Damn. Okay, so we cooked. Let's see. Review. All right, so we got memberships, we have groups, we have list members, we have the Convex stuff, we have a generate invite code. Okay, that's kind of cute. Join with code. Okay. Yes, we keep track of the code. And in each of these sessions, this is pretty comprehensive. This is all backend work. I mean, it's all sort of defined, but it now wrote it in Convex code and syntax. Damn. Okay. Wow. That's a lot of features we just dropped. Okay. I mean, you kind of have to start with the backend first because that's where we're going to hook up the UI. And so this is looking pretty good so far. Whoa. I like how it says commit, right? And so here's the functions it's going to get rid of. I don't know why it has my functions. Health check. Legacy template file kept as a lightweight. Okay, that's cool. That's cute. All right, so this is still going. Wow, this is going pretty good. Enterprise bloat. I don't know what y'all talking about. Just try TanStack start with JSON, Grapher, MVP, Claude Opus, one-shotted, GPT 5.2, no matter what, couldn't finish the job. Yeah, but that's because TanStack start is still fairly new. I had a lot of issues with TanStack start, especially with Clerk integration and Convex, like just working those three together. Oh man, like I was manually, it was kind of a nightmare, but hopefully soon that'll all change because they're still like under rapid development. So there's a lot of previous conventions that the language models were preferring. It wasn't following the new stuff. And then there's just a bunch of other issues that are on top of that were like actual issues. So yeah, to be determined. Did you try the newest VS Code? Usually like cursor, even UI wise with task sidebar, but usable with your ChatGPT subscription. Say, I haven't really tried it, but I'll have to give that a try probably in the future. But to be honest, a lot of times I focus on like one IDE and try to use the most from it. And every time I try or I'm about to try another IDE outside of cursor, like cursor always pushes a new update and I go back to it, right? Because they have like BugBot, they have like the, background agents. Now they have the design mode. Now they have debug mode. So like all plan mode, like it just keeps going. So it's really, really hard, but I think it's definitely worth checking that out. So that's what's up. Yo, what's going on, man? Thank you for popping in the chat. We are like cooking here. So what I want to do is while this is going, I want to see if we can prompt a new game or something like that. So this is kind of my framework for prompting that I'm going to go ahead and copy. And I'm just going to go to Claude and see if we can kind of build this like multiplayer game that I was talking about here. So this is kind of what I was doing here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go paste. Okay. So help me work through the details I have so far. Okay. So I'm going to share. And then it says here, that's also, I'm trying to subscribe. Okay. Through the details. Let me see. For a game that I'm trying to make, and the end of it, I should have people who are in my live stream, when they put stuff into the chat, that the agent should be able to read the chat and those players should be able to interact. We should also have the capability for people to join online with a link or scan a QR code and get put into the game live as well. Cool. Okay, so here's some of the things that we're going to have. And then as far as like insights, I'm going to make sure I kind of put my insights in here. So this is kind of like you're basically watching my framework of template for prompting live so we can make this. Feel free to ask me questions so I can better understand how it could be architected so we can give a final markdown instructions to the code agent to build. So this is my basic framework. It's like, what is the thing that I want the agent to do with my goal? And here's some like my ideas of what I've been starting to transcribe because I do everything through transcription. And then my insights are going to be inside these little delimiters here. So we're going to just yap ourselves. So for those who are not following, at the very beginning of this live stream, I said, how cool will it be is if we can actually use GPT 5.2 sort of to run autonomously and kind of make a game for us, like building a multiplayer soccer game. So like the soccer game would be like a 5v5 kind of 10 players at once. And we want to see if it can actually handle some type of complexity here. And so what I usually like to do is I start with Opus first. And then we'll see that here. So, okay. I want to build a multiplayer soccer game. It'll be a 5v5, so there will be 10 players at once. And I want players to be able to sign in with an account and play against each other live. And we're going to reserve one of the spots for a bot. And that bot is going to be someone who's going to be monitoring the chat in my live stream. And so people are going to insert characters and do different things. And that bot is going to be able to be a player that's controlled on the field. So of the people who join in, they're going to be playing with this bot, and the chat is going to go crazy because they're going to want to try to move the bot or score or do different things. So that'll be kind of funny to do that type of thing. I am new to building video games, so I have no clue what specific frameworks we should use. I also want your insights on like what stack we should use here to build the game, because I'm familiar with building with Next.js. I'm also familiar with building with Convex for my database, and I like the real-time reactivity of Convex. So there's a lot of different moving pieces here, and I feel like we can leverage some of those technologies. I'm also used to building with Clerk for authentication, because that's really easy to authenticate people. And we should be able to think about the app and the architecture so that we can scale up this app in the future, for example, to add different perks or different features and build off the existing game architecture. All of this is going to be running in a browser. Okay. I think that's it. So we have Opus 4.5. We have this here. I'm going to also say use, since we are in December 2025, use Xcode MCP to look up, use Xcode to look up the latest frameworks and code and repos that can help us accomplish this task. So this is sort of like a research task we're giving to Opus 4.5. And then I'm going to do the same thing with ChatGPT and just go to the Pro. So Pro is supposed to help us think for longer. And I'm going to paste the exact same request in here. And we have standard and we have extended. So I'm going to run standard. And then I'm also going to run the extended one too. Why not? But it says need to make changes. Try updating your request while it's thinking. Okay. Oh, I see. So now it's going to think through the game development. So I just want to see what the differences are if I give it like the same request, but to go from standard to extended. So it's the same thing. I don't really know. We'll see. We'll see what it comes back with and see what questions it asks. From here, we should be able to get like our basic spec / plan. And that should basically be able to help us maybe build the app of our dreams. I don't know. Like this would be really interesting. So yeah, SpaceTimeDB. Convex like DB for video games. Oh, okay. SpaceTimeDB. Really? Bro, I want to see about that. Easiest way to build. Oh my God, bro. This looks crazy. Let's see. Wow. So it's a table reducer. What's relational and a server combined into one? So instead of deploying a web game or server that sits between your clients and database, clients just connect directly to the database and execute your logic inside. So no more Docker. Wow. Bro, this is the Convex for Andreessen Horowitz. Let's go. Okay. Deploying to a cloud. Wow. What is this, bro? You put me on some game, Nick Steele. Let's go. Serverless, ACID, relational, built for massive games. It's a system that powers our own large MMORPG. What? Oh, how are these? Okay, please don't tell me they charge like $4,000 a month or something, bro. Like, no way. It's free up to like a million function calls. What? And then there's $25 a month. Bruh. This is amazing. How did I not know about this? Okay. I'm going to tell ChatGPT about this. Like, yo, I just got put on game with... I'm going to give this a Pro as well. And then I'm going to go back over here. It's insights. Okay. I just found out. Let me just add this into the thing. Wow, this is crazy. Okay, thank you so much. This is interesting. I really like this a lot. Oh my goodness, bro. SpaceTimeDB. Yo, let's go to the docs. I just want to see. So there's a quick start guide, TypeScript. So we can write this in TypeScript as well. So we have our app, and then we just like SpaceTimeDB server, module code, call my reducer. Okay, so the client code is here. It just talks to the module. So the architecture is subscription flow, reducer flow, and then provided via SpaceTimeDB. So, okay, so here are the client data views for the subscriptions. And then, oh, interesting. Application module has a WASM module, database rights. Oh, so all client-side reads happen when the data view is cached locally. Okay, makes sense. So they basically send like the database down to the device, like sounds like all the time. And then the client-side subscriptions tell the server what data client cares about and wants to be synced within its data view. So like the clients sort of like functions maybe like choose to subscribe to certain things depending on what they're looking for. I guess in this case, it would probably be like a character with certain attributes. And so maybe if you're in a certain realm or a certain room, it's only going to be subscribed to those things, not the entire index for the database, which so it doesn't have to like read and write those all the time. That's interesting. So then it would just, I mean, it makes sense that someone's making like a game specific version of the database. I like this a lot. This is really cool. RLS filters restrict the data view. Okay, this is really great. Reducers are effectively async RPCs. Oh, that makes sense. As a result, those changes make it through the 2 layers above. Yeah, state mirroring. Damn. So there's a bunch of libraries. This is, Unity as well. Wow. Bro, this is a massive unlock. I've never done video game development, so this is really cool, actually. Oh, this is going to be a rabbit hole so bad. But it's worth it. I think it's going to be fun to learn. I always like little new projects and stuff to learn. Okay, so what's it doing now? Planning, outlining. I think we broke ChatGPT. What's it say? Update? Oh, I don't think I had to do anything. Okay. So there was a link shared. It's been running for 2 minutes for ChatGPT 5.2 Pro. We gave it some additional information. So now it's actually kind of like going through, summarizing GPT. I don't know why I chose pricing. I put the wrong URL. Okay, whatever. I didn't want pricing. I wanted, is it going to, there's a 90% discount on MyCloud right now. That might be something we check out. Okay, I guess so. It's funny how it's being sold to from the pricing website. Oh man, AGI is going to have a trip. Okay, let's go ahead and see. Okay, so we have this here from Opus. So, okay, this is a really interesting find. SpaceTimeDB is purpose-built exactly for what you're trying to do. Let me break down the comparison. So for the soccer game, basically we have a design philosophy. So SpaceTimeDB is the database plus game server combined. So our logic will run inside the database as reducers. And so Convex is stateless, functions that query a database. And so with real-time sync, we have clients that subscribe to SQL queries and get automatic updates. And so here's the real-time subscriptions work, but designed for document updates, not 60 FPS game, which makes sense. So the latency is 100 microseconds per transaction. That's insane. Wow. Great for apps, not for games. So yeah, that makes sense. So energy packs, consumption based or self-host. I guess the energy packs are like consumption based. So the server-side language is Rust, compiles to WASP WebAssembly. Client-side SDK, newer but still maturing, powers Bitcraft MMO, new to learn. Okay, so the big trade-offs, SpaceTimeDB Pros for your game, handles the hard multiplayer. Okay, Convex Pros, you already know the, okay. So we're gonna go SpaceTimeDB. Yeah, let's do this. Could be amazing content. Yeah, building them would be, yeah, so okay, cool. So we have Next.js plus Phaser 3 front-end game rendering, and then we have SpaceTimeDB, Convex identity for custom bridge SpaceTimeDB, YouTube chat integration runs on SpaceTimeDB reducer, or separate service that calls reducers. Okay, let's go with Stack A. Cool. How do you feel about writing a game in Rust? I don't know. I've never written Rust before. So it's not a huge amount. Maybe it's okay for game logic, but it would be great for learning content. Yeah, let's do it. Okay, cool. I like TypeScript everywhere, but okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and use SpaceTimeDB. I like Path A. It's really, really great. Let's also use TypeScript everywhere since that's just easier. If we need to dabble in Rust, I can use AI agents for that. But for the most part, we're going to just stick with TypeScript because it'll make the build process a lot easier and debugging quite as easy as well. So we can have it all in one package. I guess, I don't know if... dabble in Rust, can use H for this part. Okay, cool. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and see if I can send this across. So we're basically trying to build our spec. So yeah, huge shout out to Nick Steele. Thank you so much for that. Okay, cool. So what am I using for secrets right now? So for secrets, I just use it right into when I deploy on Vercel. There's a way to actually manage the secrets there. So really curious. I know you're hosting on Vercel. Do you use Convex just as a database? Or do you also use the actions besides the queries and mutations? By the way, love the stream. Keep it up. Yeah. So I actually use Convex for the actions as well, the mutations and everything. So there are times where there are limitations for whatever reason, whether it's like a node runtime environment or something that is just completely one-off. And then I will use the Next.js route handlers that's currently hosted on Vercel. So it would just hit the route handler instead of hitting the Convex database. It's kind of funny because the code looks the same on the on the client and server. But that's kind of the way that I approach it. It's like everything as much as possible, since I can keep the states and everything and round trips as efficient as possible on Convex. So as the data gets updated from their end, all the scheduled stuff and everything will be all built in. And then the front end, I really just treat my front end part of the app with Next.js and TypeScript just more as reactive. Like as the data comes in from the back end, those queries come in or as part of the Convex framework will just automatically update. So I'm just kind of like, structure the app and then all the data and stuff will fill in. So when I think about data and data being stored and even states for everything, I keep the states in it, even like as much as possible on the back end. So even like a user preference setting, these days, the backends and those responses are so fast. So when you hit a toggle, it's going to send that right up back to the Convex. And because you have a WebSocket, you're pretty much just updating that state live. So instead of keeping a local state and then waiting for that to sync with like a, there's in React, there's like a loop, and I think it's called like use ref or something like that. Use something hook. You're waiting for a local sync to then send that back up to the database. I would just prefer to just call it right to the database value and just kind of write it right in. I feel like I'm just kind of querying for that and waiting for the message, and I hit the toggle and it'll just update. And so like that's kind of the way I think of everything. Everything kind of just sits up there, and then the front end is almost like a skeleton. So that's how you can open like 5 browser windows, hit the toggle, and all of them will toggle at the same time, right? They're not depending on a local state sync to send that back up. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to watch actually, and very helpful. Hey, is 5.1 in Codex? I don't see it. Oh, you don't see it yet. It should be in Codex. Oh no, not for Codex. So Codex has not been released yet. Just the GPT 5.2 Pro. Yeah, that's it. Or just GPT 5.2. So I don't know if that's coming out later, because that's supposed to be, that'll be crazy. If it does come out for Codex, that'll just be insane. So space-time pricing page, it means that plain, okay, so this is that TEV thing. So energy measured in credits. Okay, so there's a quick, what matters for your multiplayer reducer calls. Okay, Pro includes 65 million. Okay. Are you considering replacing Convex? Okay. We're actually just going to go with the SpaceTimeDB because that's going to be perfect for our stuff here. So let's go ahead and research a little bit more around that. And our spectators are going to join via QR code, which will basically be an invite link for the game. Okay, so that's what's out there. And let's see what happened here. So this is kind of similar. So this is like the Pro, but we did standard thinking versus extended. And in the extended one, I gave it the wrong link and it went to the pricing page and it was like, hey, you're doing pricing. It's like, oh God. Maybe I should just rewrite the request. But that took us like 10 minutes. And this one thought for like 5 more minutes on top of that. Oh, it's so painful, but whatever. That's what's kind of weird about GPT 5.2 Pro is like, if you give it something, you make a mistake, you're going to wait forever. And then let's be like, yo, that's the mistake. So you kind of have to like think through everything at the very beginning and just kind of give it all, because otherwise it kind of, like we see, it's just going off the random path. So let's see what happened here. So what you're building, my strong recommendation for the stack is Phaser, actual game rendering, inputs. Oh, shoot. Oh, no. Okay. Okay, so there's two different plans because I gave it the additional information about SpaceTimeDB. It's a really good fit for your soccer idea. I think it clicks for your project. You get authoritative multiplayer for free. TypeScript modules are a big deal for you. And then the client story is browser friendly. And how it combined with Next.js login. So supports an OIDC provider like Twitch and Kick. That's cool. Keep Clerk totally doable. Livestream chat control bot has a key constraint. So that's interesting. And then, like shoot, left, pass. Okay, that makes sense. What about SpaceTimeDB doing HTTP? Okay, has producers beta, which can do HTTP requests. That's cool. So what architecture would you like? Clean and scalable. That's cool. Authoritative sim. Wow. This looks pretty good, actually. 2 quick questions. Which stream platforms would you like to support for control? As of now, the stream platform for control would just be YouTube Live. And do you want the game to feel physicsy, harder, more sim? I want the game to feel more arcade-like. There is an original NES soccer game. I think it's called World Cup or something like that. That was really fun, and I kind of want to bring that nostalgia back. So a 2D top-down could be really cool here. All right, cool. Let's see. I like how it's asking me these questions. So let's go ahead and go back to Opus right now and see what's going on with our game development here thing. So we told it about SpaceTimeDB. We told it we want to move forward. And then is it asking me some more questions? Okay. I thought I told it to move forward. Maybe I'm just kind of, I'm mixing up my chats. So, okay. So SpaceTimeDB. Okay, so cool. Rust server is actually not that scary for game logic. So Phaser, Clerk, YouTube chat, run SpaceTB reducer. Okay. Everyone's like, how do you feel about writing Rust? Or you'd rather stick with TypeScript everywhere? Okay. I'd rather stick with TypeScript everywhere as much as possible. And I love the path A, which would be SpaceTimeDB. It's definitely more ambitious, but it's going to be really, really fun to do this. As far as the style of game I'm looking for is also kind of like a 2D version. I was inspired a lot by the Nintendo NES game. I think it's called World Cup. And I kind of want to bring that cool classic arcade nostalgia back. And yeah, I think that's it. So feel free to ask me more questions so we can make sure that this game is the best possible. Okay, cool. Game dev, Rust, interesting keywords to me detected. My challenge is to make it TypeScript, right? No, I think I should probably do Rust, huh? That'd be fire. Okay, cool. Let's see. Good tokens in versus good tokens out. Yeah, it's very slow. It thinks a lot. It does some fixes problems, but better than other modules. Okay, what do you use for voice commands? I use a thing called Wispr Flow. So I'll give you the referral here. https://rfr.me/Wispr. So if you do this, you should be able to sign up for Wispr Flow, and when you do that, basically helps the channel. But I love Wispr Flow so much because like I've been using it for everything. It basically takes a screenshot of your screen and can understand like names and various things in context. And I've been using it since the very beginning. At the very beginning, when it first launched though, they had not nailed down all the HIPAA requirements and all the different data privacy stuff. And so I actually waited to use Wispr Flow until they got all the different things in place. And pretty much now it's so reliable in my go-to model. I use it on my phone a lot. I'm actually one of the top 1% of yappers on it because I use it for everything. So it's just super duper handy. So, 6-on-6 teams, smaller field, faster action. That's right. Super power kicks, no fouls. Oh, you can tackle and slide. Yeah, this is what I want. I want chaos. I want pure chaos. It's so good. You control one player, but teammates. Okay, so different. Oh, I forgot about this. This is so cool. Big-headed Chibibi style sprites. This is cool. Honest take on SpaceTimeDB. Here's everything. Requires Rust for server-side reducers. Okay, this is cool. However, Rust, it needs pretty minimal, so no scary lifetimes and no async complexities. So it's basically just, okay, so this is Rust. I've never seen Rust before like this. Okay, so we have SpaceTimeDB as a table, and then its name is equals players and it's public. Okay, so we have a struct. This looks like C. Why don't I just write it in C? Why don't we just write everything in C? Everything is a C wrapper, right? Like a pub fn move player, reducer. Okay, we get f floating point 32 or something. Okay. It's more like TypeScript with different syntax to real systems. Okay. Embrace minimal Rust. Yeah. Okay. Okay. What's your gut feeling? I like the idea of embracing some minimal Rust. To be honest, it kind of looks like C code. Okay, so assuming we proceed with whatever tech, here is some stuff we need to nail down. So WASD for continuous movements to tap and move. Okay, yeah. Yeah, let me answer some of your questions. Okay. All right, so we have input style. Yes, input style, okay, this style. We have auto switch and manual. In NES World Cup, it auto switches to player nearest the ball. Do you want to do that or let the player start locked in? If there is only one player that's playing, then we should just do auto switch. If we are doing a multiplayer mode where each player logs in and is controlling a character, then we'll kind of do it that way. And if there are 2 players on one team and 2 players on another team, we should just auto switch. So just pick the closest player that's near there. And as the ball moves to the other side, we should just auto switch to that other player. Okay, that'd be really cool. Super kicks. Should each player have a unique super kick animation trajectory or keep it simpler with one type per team? I think it would be really great if we have a unique super kick animation trajectory. We're just trying to go all in, right? Chatbot player, perform live stream only or Twitch? Okay. The chatbot player will be YouTube live only. Okay. And then the voting window, aggressive votes every X seconds or first valid command. Let's do a democracy mode where aggregate votes show up every X seconds. Aggregate votes for every X seconds. Okay. And then what else? Voting window. Okay. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Am I missing something? Input style, auto switch, super kicks. Okay, 3 super kicks. 4 is platform. I missed platform. YouTube live only. Yes. Command. Oh, command parsing. Oh, I totally missed this part. Oh man, this is the funny part. Okay, cool. Please bear with me. Apologies for all the funniness here, but I'm just trying to make sure I get everything here. What commands should chat be able to use? Simple up down, more complex, shoot top left. Yeah. Simple commands for a chat. And then 7. Oh my God. Would be can chat trigger super kicks? Yes. They can trigger super kicks. This is going to be ridiculous. Let's see. Match length, 2-minute halves. Team size. You said 5v5 with 1 bot spot. So 4 human players, correct on the team size. 1 chatbot per team. Yeah. Actually, yeah. No, actually, correct on the team. Correct on the team size, but only 1 chatbot per game. It'll randomly choose which side it is on. And then I want to make it a little bit harder to add some more complexity, but that'll be in the future. So the waiting lobby. Do all 10 players need to be ready, or games can start with just fewer? Games we'll have a lobby, and once the but configurable to allow people to join if the person starting the game wants to. Okay, cool. And then spectator mode, can unlimited people watch or just 10 players? Interesting. Unlimited people can watch. Okay. Mid game, if someone disconnects, can a new player unlimited people watch? There should be a setting to make it private. So only the players who private. Okay, so 12 would be if someone disconnects, can a new player scan in and take over? Yeah. And new player can always scan in and take over. Cool. And so the QR display, does this show on your OBS overlay or in the game UI? QR will show in game overlay. Okay. Cosmetics, different players, sprites, colors, goal celebration. Yes. Yes. We plan to have different sprites, team colors, goals, etc. We can use Exa MCP to look up things and generate prompts for the generate JSON prompts for Google Nano Banana Pro. And progression leaderboards, win streaks, yes. Yes for all progression items. And then tournament mode, bracket style, competitions for community. We can do some basics on the brackets, but that'll be for later. Be for later, not a priority. Okay, cool. So with your answers, even partial shots. Okay, let's go ahead and just kind of see if we can shape this up on something. So these are really good questions that Opus asked, and it's going to try to come up with a pretty good game plan here. So that's what's up. Nice. All right. So let's just check in on our code and see what's going on so far with Cursor, because I know we were kind of checking on that. We're going to let Opus kind of do its thing and its thinking there for coming up with a better plan. So this is currently all of our review for the code that it wrote. So it got rid of the old functions here. It looks like GPT-5 also created a dashboard for us for Cursor. Wow, this thing went all out. Holy smokes. So phase 1 has been implemented per the attached plan. So it has Clerk stuff in there, has the front end pages, it already built and everything. And now it's asking for the env vars to unblock the generation. So now we can actually set the issuer tokens in the Open Weather API inside of Cursor, inside of our map. And so this is for those who are wondering, this is like the Canoe Club app. And technically it's already done because it has apps, it has groups. Oh, that's quite a bit of code. This is insane. Oh my gosh. Wow. It just went to town. How many tokens did it use? 157,000 tokens. That's not bad. Wow. Session ID. This is great. Oh my goodness. Damn. Profile, like user profiles can steer. Oh my God. There's a lot of code that got checked in. Here's the phases that got broken up into. And then now we have inner, I don't know what this is. What it's doing here. Preloaded. Oh, health checks. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So let's take a look. Let me just go ahead and see if I can run this server here. So we have everything that's been running. I think technically it's already up. So bun dev. Let's see. Wow. Bun convex. Okay. Let's just check this app. So Mokohue, find your 6. It didn't do anything with the like UI and stuff to make it fancy, but let's go ahead and see if I can sign in. I'm gonna see if I can blur the screen here. One issue. It says, what's the issue here? Sign up modals. Okay, so this is kind of the issue I have here. Let me just refresh. Oh, okay. So this is like the site. It just kind of updated. Let me go ahead and sign in now. And now what does it say? Does it say, okay, issues? So we have this here. I'm going to say, can you fix this issue? What's going on? Okay. I logged in. Oh, I see. Need the JWT template. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that also in Clerk. I'm going to grab the JWT template, but I hit this issue before logging in. Getting the JWT template and needs your help. Should I just grab the JWT template and ignore this issue, or is this an actual real issue in our code? So I'm going to send that over. What I should have also done is I can duplicate this chat. For those who aren't familiar, you can just go hit these little dots and say duplicate chat. And so if you duplicate the chat in Cursor, what that does is you'll keep everything from all of the context and everything that's happened, and you put that into a new window. So you basically keep the context window there too, and you can iterate on bugs. And that's probably something that if this doesn't really work, I might generate like a summary document of what was done, and we'll continue to like our bug fixing. So this first phase of like landing all the features have already worked here. And I should probably just check in whatever code is here because I mean, it already kind of works. And so these were all the files that were changed. And so this looks pretty crazy. So I'm just going to hit this check here. There's also a thing called agent review. So I'm going to run that locally. So this runs currently inside of Cursor, and this is just going to review the code for us, which would be super helpful. And as we see, everything's kind of checking out here. I'm just going to, I have everything currently staged. So I'm going to stage all the changes. And so that's it basically will accept everything that Cursor has done for the agent run. And we're going to see if it pulls up any issues here. And then we're going to check back in. So let's see what happened with, I'm going to let that run. And over here on the side, it says, this happens when the sign up is triggered while you're already signed in. If the Clerk app is configured for single session only, while you might be seeing you're signing in. Okay, so what to do? Proceed with the template and copy the issue. Or if you test the modal, sign out first, then the open modal. Okay, if you want, I can tweak the landing page to use the redirect style sign in instead of the modal. Okay, so I think that's what's happening here. It's like, let me just kind of, a lot of times I have to go into developer console and storage. A lot of stuff will have like cookies and stuff involved. I'm just going to clear them out. And so if you clear out the cookies, what's going to be nice is like any session ID, anything that's stored locally, a lot of times you're sharing the same URL. So if you do localhost 3000, you'll have cookies from other apps you're developing. And since I use Clerk for authentication, sometimes that may throw it off too. So now let me just kind of do a hard refresh here. And if I do sign in, see now the sign in works, right? So that's kind of how we can get rid of some of this stuff. So if I do sign in, now it does the actual thing. Let's go ahead and try to see if I could do the sign in. So I'm going to try to sign in here. So our app should technically work now if I just sign in. And basically back here. So like nothing happened. And where am I at? /dashboard? Dashboard? Let's see, dashboard. Okay, so here's my dashboard. And it's like, hey, there's a server error. I'm not authenticated because I don't have the actual JWT token stuff set up yet. And that's what I still need to set up with Convex. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get that set up too. So that'll be coming up next here. So all of this is here. Let me just double check the review stuff. So it's still currently reviewing. While this is reviewing, I'm going to go ahead and pop into our game really quick and see like where we are at with the multiplayer stuff and see if it actually came up with some more details for Opus. So if you're just tuning in right now, we're going to make a soccer game and kind of throw an ode back to the old NES days where there used to be this cool like World Cup game and had these characters with the big sprites. It was just really, really fun to play. And so what was nice about it is like you can literally just tackle other players and take over the ball. And I thought that would be a really cool live stream challenge. So I'm trying to build this app in the next 12 days. So 12 days before Christmas, I'm going to try to see it build this on the stream every single day. So we're going to go through, try to figure out, I've never wrote Rust in my life. So we're going to try to figure out how to write some Rust. Who knows? We might just rewrite the whole thing and see and see how good these language models are. And so we're going to do some of that. We're going to try to make the game so that it's playable. So that way you can pop into a live chat and then you can enter different characters and you can control one of the players. So I want to make it so that you play against me on a live stream. So I'll have 5 players, will be 5v5 or 6v6. And one of the players will be all of you. And then I'll have something on the screen with a QR code so you can scan to join in so we can play live. And the whole goal is for like all of us to play live together on Christmas Day, which would be kind of cool. So it's currently December 11th, Thursday. And we're going to try to see if we can build this all in Cursor It'd be kind of cool. This is kind of me starting this out because I thought it'd be kind of like a fun challenge. I've never built a game in my life, and actually really appreciate everyone who's been coming on the chat, because that's actually how I've been able to learn about SpaceTimeDB. So Nick Steele, thank you so much for this. This was super helpful in my prompting. And like, this is what he's saying is the Convex of gaming databases. So that's going to be really fun to kind of check out. And so the first part of this flow is to prompt our way there. And we got to generate a plan. So we started off, I showed you a little bit of my prompt scaffolding of what specific things we start off with, and then the insights, and then how we're going to have the agent ask us some more questions. And then I'm using XMCP to look up some of these repos and do these additional detailed searches. And when you give, like, Exa to me is like enriching the search agents here, so it can actually kind of do more work, and it kind of has like a better understanding. I feel like it makes Opus that much smarter. You can tell it to look up books or look up different things, and it's so much better at looking up things on the internet. It has a really great repository of information. So as of now, you're perfect. Rust is the game setup. So locked in so far, this is what we have for our stack that we're going to use. So we're going to use SpaceTimeDB for the Rust server. We're going to have TypeScript client for the Next.js and Phaser 3, WASD arrows, player switching, super kicks, YouTube only, chat platform. We have the up, down, left, right super kick. We have the team size. This is gonna be a wild game. This is gonna be so fun. I'm so excited to build this. Multi-game takeover, in-game overlay, sprites, team colors planned, and then the progression. This is gonna be crazy. So we have some more final clarifying questions before we're gonna get into this whole thing. We're gonna get this started off. I've never built a game in my life, so this is gonna be really cool. We finally made it this far. So the camera perspective would be top-down, like classic arcade mode. Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and answer it. I thought I said that earlier, which I found really surprising that it didn't really do that. So let me go ahead and kind of take care of some things here real quick in my room. Okay, cool. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and do this. Okay, so let me go ahead and okay. Let me answer some of the questions. So it's like one, camera will be top down. Oh, so like the NES World Cup uses pseudo 3D angled view. What feels right? Let's do, okay, not top down. I want the camera angle to be similar to the NES World Cup version, as I like the pseudo 3D angled view. This is really cool. Oh my God, I'm gonna learn so much. This is gonna be really exciting. Let's see, the field scroll. So the full field visible at once, or camera follows the ball action like NES World Cup scroll view. Okay, that's cool. So let's do the field scroll. If scroll, like, yeah. Okay, let's do the camera follows ball action. Okay, let's do the, just paste camera follows the ball action. Okay. Goalkeeper, is the goalie AI controlled for both teams, or can the player choose to be the goalie? The goalie is, the goalie can be controlled by, can be controlled, like, can be AI controlled, or the bots or user can press a button to take over the goalie spot. Okay, voting window. How many seconds for chat? I'm thinking 1 to 2 seconds. It keeps it snappy. Yeah, let's do 1 to 1.5 seconds or something. 5 seconds for the vote aggregation. Oh, this is gonna be nuts. Ball physics. Okay, full physics simulation or simpler arcade style. Yeah, I like the simpler arcade style. I love the ball moves in a direction, slows down over time. Okay, cool. Human player control. When a human joins, do they control one specific character like player 3, or do they control the active character on the team with auto switch? When a human joins, they'll control one specific character. The auto switch will be enabled. Oh, okay. To start, we can do an auto switch if there are only two team members. That way, the characters. Okay. I think to start, I think we'll do that. I'll make it less complicated because that way you'll know what you're getting into. Wait, to start, we can auto switch if there are only one player each side. If there are less than two players on each side. Okay. If controlling one character, can multiple humans be in the same team controlling, e.g. you control striker, your friends control middle fielder? Okay. They should be on opposing teams to start. Okay. Okay, let's see. And then 8, auth. Still using Clerk or going with built-in anonymous identity system. For auth, let's use the SpaceTimeDB built-in ID system. If it makes sense, we can use Clerk, but I'd like to do more research on that. So we have the most compatible system. Okay. Hosting game stream overlay. Will the game itself be the stream? You're streaming the browser game, or is there separate spectator view that you can capture? Ooh, I'm going to be streaming the gameplay. But it would be fun to have a view where it is spectator mode only. So I can share the link or put it on a screen to screen. Okay, cool. Similar to the way people watch real soccer games. Okay, cool. Once you hit these, I'll have everything set up for the full architecture and we're close. Okay, cool. Let's go. This is awesome. Okay, this is quite a lot of answers that we've got back for our game, but I feel like this is going to be an amazing spec. I mean, this is what I went through for the Canoe Club, and you're kind of seeing how we're going through this for the game, which is really fun, right? But Opus 4.5 for planning like this is unbelievable. This is why people are saying it's just feels like crazy smart. So this is going to be amazing. It gets me, right? It's it's totally doing that. It's how does it know what I'm doing? Yeah. Okay, cool. So check this out. So we're going to, this plan, we're going to be using Rust. We're going to be using TypeScript. We're going to be using SpaceDB or SpaceTimeDB. This thing is but look at this plan, bruh. This thing is, oh my God. Oh, come on. Wait, hold on. I want to see this plan. Can I see the files right now? Oh, can I? Oh, I messed it up. Come on. I want to see this. Oh, y'all saw what's going on right now. This thing, when it comes out, if it one-shots our game, it's game over, bro. I don't even know. The AI has taken over the whole spot. We need the AGI in the chat. Who's got AGI in the chat? You think I feel like once we have this comprehensive spec, we can just give it to Cursor, GPT 5.2 Pro, and say, cook, bro. Literally just cook. And I want to just see it do its whole thing. You know what I mean? I don't think we're ready for this. I don't think we're going to be ready. It's still writing the plan. Yo, what's the first person on GPT 5.2 compared to Opus 4.5? Bro, they're different beasts. They're completely different things. Opus 4.5, right now, we got to tell it plans. We got to give it details. 5.2 Pro, is supposed to be really good at following, attention to detail. So I want to hand this plan to 5.2 Pro, go back in there and say, can you help me do some research on some of these pieces to make sure we have the most comprehensive plan filled out? That's where I think it's going to be super helpful and really, really interesting here to see kind of its thought process. I wish that Opus didn't have this bug where like as soon as you kind of unminimize, you lose this type of thing, because I mean, we were seeing some really amazing stuff going in here for this document. And Markdown is easier for agents to parse and work with than docx. Let me create a comprehensive spec. This thing's gonna be so ridiculous. So that's what's up. Compared to Opus 4.5, thinking, how is it? Yeah, we're going to see this. We got AGI in the chat. AGI. Yo, Ray, I always use the cheaper models, but man, I'm loving Opus. Yeah, Opus 4.5. I can't right now. This is some ridiculous stuff, if you know what I mean. So yeah, this thing is going to be generating our MD file, and I cannot wait to review it with y'all when this MD file comes back, because this thing is just, it's going burr right now. And I think we're going to have a really fire game after that. So once this thing lands, I think it's going to be really awesome. Keep up the great streams. LDJ, thank you so much, man. You put me on game for that ServiceNow model. I was watching the beginnings of the AI live stream with you guys, and that was a really cool insight. For those who were watching earlier, we talked about that model and stuff. So this is the live stream we need. Yes. Yeah. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. I think to me, I want to make this stuff live and play with these models. And I've seen some really cool demos, but I kind of want to build it myself. Oh, did we finish yet? Oh man. Okay. I want to see it like go through and do all this stuff. Like I never wrote Rust in my life. Let me just see if I can learn about Rust while this is going. I bet you we can learn how to do a new programming language in like 5 minutes. Okay. ChatGPT. Okay. So I'm just going to do thinking. Teach me the basics of Rust. Like, how does this work? How do I run it? How should I think about architecture? What is it really good for? What are some of the things that people like to use this for a language as opposed to maybe writing C code? Right now, I'm trying to make a video game called SpaceTime with SpaceTimeDB, and that's kind of why I'm asking about this. And the game, okay, so let's see. It should remember my memory from the previous chat, so we'll see. I mean, that'd be really interesting. Droid has 5.2 now. Feed Droid the CLI. Yeah, so that's also what I was thinking about doing. Is like if I give it to Cursor, if I give it to Droid, will they just keep running, and who will actually finish the game? It's costing a bunch, but I built a native iOS app and then rebuilt it in Flutter. Someone please hack his React server component so it stops letting... Bro, we're about to learn some Rust right now, bro. Like, I don't know. Like, in this instance, should I just raw dog some C right now? This is gonna be... I just finished $60 Cursor sub with 2 sittings in Opus 4.5. Oh, I would be so mad. Oh, I must tell you though, that Opus 4.5 is well worth it though. You're going to be spending bank on that thing. So yeah, that's what's up. Let's see. So what are we learning here? Gathering basics of Rust and Spacetime, confirming Rust edition. So we're going to learn Rust in this live stream together over the next 12 days, or whatever we can learn about Rust to help us build this video game. And so I'm calling this like the AI slop edition. We got to get sloppy for 2025 so we can roll in 2026 like super swole. And that's how we're going to do it here. We're going to use the slops machines to teach us the slop. So hopefully we'll have something better than that, if you know what I mean. So future furries in the chat incoming, bro. Okay, so missed. What did what you're missing right now is that we're gonna basically go like mega brain learning mode right now. So teaching Rust basics and architecture for game modules is pretty cool. Rust with SpaceTimeDB for architecture, online game Rust space. Damn. Okay. Crafting an overview for architecture. Like, how do I run this? How do I compile it? What do I do with this? Tailoring Rust for SpaceTimeDB and game development so they can write authoritative super. So while we map Rust concepts to type and Swift types, okay, and traits for protocols, for architecture, consider cargo workspace with server. So what is cargo for Rust? It's the build system and package manager for the Rust programming language. It handles tasks like creating new projects, building your code, managing dependencies, running tests, and generating documentation. It's installed with Rust toolchain. Developers use Cargo for Rust. Okay, this is cool. Okay, bro. Like, I think this is going to turn into like a whole NeoVim thing. Bro, NeoVim in the chat. Who uses NeoVim? Oh my God. Okay. So cargo is, Rust is dope. Learned a bit of Rust, doing my own version of, Wispr Flow. That'd be slot for the win. I ended up getting the 200 cursor plans I've been cooking the past week. Cargo is Rust npm. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Package manager. Is Rust written in Rust? Okay, cool. So install cargo and set up your first crate. Okay, that looks cool. Cargo guide, reference, commands, and facts. Okay, cool. Let's just like speed run this real quick. A crate is a library executable referred to as a crate binary. So the target's defined in cargo package as a crate. Okay, cute. Loosely termed crate may refer to the source code of a target or a compiled artifact. Oh, so you can have both. So you can have just straight raw code or like a binary or something, right? It may also to refer to compressed package fetched from the registry. Okay, so the source code for a given crate may be subdivided into modules. Okay, so here's the registry. The registry is basically a collection of downloadable crates. Okay, so that's like downloading a bunch of packages and stuff. As dependencies for a package, the registry is Rust ecosystem crates.io. Okay, the registry has an index which contains a list of crates. Okay, so the source is a provider that contains the crates. Gotcha. So there's a default registry and there's local directory and path. Got it. Okay. So here's crates.io. Hashbrown. What is Hashbrown? Hashbrown is a port of Google's high performance Swiss table. Whoa. Okay. So this is going down a crazy rabbit hole. So we're extremely pleased to announce the availability of Swiss table. So these hash tables live within ASO. Oh, what? So these flat tables should be your default choice. They store the value type for containers and may contain array to avoid memory indirections. Oh, we haven't even got into Rust memory management. Memory management. Okay, what is this? Oh, wow. Okay, what is ownership? Is a set of rules given to how Rust program manages memory. All programs have a managed way to use Rust computer's memory while running. Some languages have garbage collection that regularly looks for no longer used memory and as the program runs. In other languages, the program must explicitly allocate the free memory. Rust uses third-party approach. What? Why? Memory is managed through a system of ownership with a set of rules that the compiler checks. Oh, this is going to get messy. Wait, so if Rust is managed by third parties, who audits these libraries or third parties for memory management? Oh, this is nasty. Oh man, this is crazy. Rust is amazing. Don't forget Cargo FMT, Clippy, about picking one model. Okay. Lamau, Crow Crash didn't miss any question. Bro, I think, yeah. I ran out of my $200 cursor plan a third of the way through the month. So that's $400 of agent use. I'm trying to figure out if there's a way to not go broke using Super. Bro, man, I'm getting in this Rust rabbit hole. I'm wondering if I made a mistake. Oh, not third party. Got it. None of the features of ownership will slow down your programming while it's running. Because ownership is a new concept for many programmers, it does not take the time to get used to. So good news, more experienced users you become with Rust and the rules of ownership system, you'll find it easier to naturally develop code that's safe and efficient. Got it. Okay, so when you understand ownership, you'll have a solid foundation for understanding the features that make Rust unique. In this chapter, you'll learn the ownership by working through some examples that focus on very common data structures, which is strings. So there's stack and the heap. Great. Wow. Okay, ownership rules. So there's a scope variable. Cool. There's a string type. So you set the type from hello. Okay. And then the string could be mutated, obviously. But then this is how they do their mutations. So what about for memory allocation? How do we do this? So this is valid. The scope is now over. So S is no longer valid. Oh, okay. From hello. So, wow. Let's see what do we do here. So we have the name. Okay. Length, capacity. That's cute. So, the representation does look like figure 3. Earlier, we said that when a variable goes out of scope, Rust must automatically call its drop function and cleans up the memory heap, but shows that both data pointers point to the same location. The problem is S1, S2 go out of scope. They both try to free the same memory. This is known as double free error, and one of the memory safe bugs we mentioned previously. So freeing memory twice can lead to memory consumption, which can potentially lead to security vulnerabilities. The double free. Wow. Okay. So borrowed value from S1. Shallow copy, deep copy. This is really awesome. Man, you can really just get right into it. Okay, cool. So let's go back to our plans and see where we're at so far. How's ChatGPT? Okay, your ChatGPT plan gives me access to codecs. Great. Okay, so Rust basics, what it is, how it works. 3 big concepts: ownership, borrowing, and lifetimes. So owner can have exactly one owner variable. Borrowing, you can lend access to a value via references and .t read borrow, and then mutations, mutable borrow, so only one time. Okay. The compiler proves a reference never outlives the thing it points to. Okay, that's why Rust code can feel strict at first, but once you internalize it, it's like having a compiler that won't let it use ship, use free, double free, and a lot of race condition nonsense. I get it. Okay, cool. That's nice. So for stuff I already know, for like, if you have Swift, you have let and var, and in Rust is let and mute. Okay. And then the T is just option T, and then throws would be results. Okay. Swift protocols is now Rust traits. Okay, I'm getting the hang of this. How do I run Rust? You just run this and then Rust update. Okay, cool. So Rust up will just get us the latest Rust things, create a run project. So cargo new something, cd cargo run. So build run, test, Clippy. How should I think about architecture? Opinionated. So core is domain logic, app is use cases, and IO is glue for infra. And then cargo structure. Okay, this makes sense. Wow. Okay, so this is going to be a really wild stream. We're going to learn a whole bunch of stuff. All right, so let's go back to our plan. Oh, did we crash the app? Okay, so here we are. So here's the thought process for the entire architecture for the multi-arcade soccer game. Look how big this plan is. Dang! Whoa, look at this. Oh my goodness. Did you see what Opus did? This is why you have to pay a lot of money for this model. Oh my goodness, bro. What it wrote the code for us, low key. It literally almost wrote it all for us. I asked for a spec. It's low key pseudocode. It's like, oh my. Oh, wow. The game state, it even wrote our game state for us. Here's a connection map. Oh my, reducer calls as well. Get the connection. We have a join match. We have the move player. This is beautiful. There's a Phaser Game 3 game integration. So now we have all the stuff from here in TypeScript, and then here's the main game scene. Bro. Oh, this is why I really cooked. Oh, I'm still going through the plan, by the way. I'm still scrolling. Here's a YouTube live chatbot integration as a service. Oh my goodness. I got to turn the temperature down for the heat. It's a little too warm in the house. Okay. Chatbot. This is insane. Oh, I'm not even almost halfway through here. Oh, what? So what's in the doc? 16 sections covering everything an AI agent needs to build this. We got 16 sections from Opus 4.5 based off of our yapping on how to build this crazy live interactive soccer game that we're going to try to build 12 days before Christmas. And so by the time we're done on Christmas Day, we should all be able to play multi-streaming, all created by AI, while at the same time trying to learn Rust while our AI agent is coding for us. So we're going to try to code this in Next.js with TypeScript, also with some Rust on the back end. SpaceTimeDB as well. This is going to be a wild couple of days. If you haven't subscribed already on YouTube, just hit that subscribe button. Share this with some friends. Code along with me. If you're using these models, let's code together. Earlier, I just dropped how I prompted this thing. It was not that hard using Opus 4.5. In the next couple of days, we're just going to continue building this out. This is going to be bonkers. We're going to use Cursor, obviously, to build some of this stuff out as well. And then somebody said we should also compare this with Droid. So having Droid in the background, giving it the whole thing. I don't know if y'all are ready for this, but this is about to be bonkers. It's gotten dark back here in California, and so my whole thing just went into dark mode. So we're just kind of switching modes. So we got the whole tech stack. We got the data models. We have the game mechanics already spelled out. We have the SpaceTimeDB reducers already here in code. We have the client architecture with a phaser integration, YouTube chatbot, QR join, spectator mode, UX screens, and we got the file architecture as well as a 6-week implementation plan. And if you don't know about AI timelines, ladies and gentlemen, yes, it would take a really cracked engineer 6 weeks to write all this code by themselves. But I don't know about you guys. I think we could do this with AI in less than 12 days. So this would be really fun to watch. I think it's just going to be probably the most insane challenge that anyone's ever done online, 12 days before Christmas, is to try to make this game live and have the live stream so that the live stream, like you in the chat, can play with this bot, like in like a real soccer game with me, because that'd be so insane. And it says, the Rust isn't scary. Looking at the reducers is really like C-like syntax with types. It's like, yeah, it's just easy, bro. We got this, right? No async lifetimes. Let me just download this file because this is our gold right now. This is like the mega prompt that we have. So there's no async, no lifetimes, no borrowing complexity for what we're doing. The project's, I called it, is kickoff chaos. Want to integrate it? Want to change it? Super kick names. I made up 6 types. Thundershot, banana curve. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is hosting, SpaceTimeDB cloud for production. Can decide later, but affects deployment selection. Okay, cool. So want me to adjust anything before you hand this to Claude Code or another agent to start building? Sheesh, bro. This is bonkers. So we have the authentication identity system. So this is using SpaceTime. Okay, so SpaceTime has an auth for this. Profile creation reducer. So this create profile, QR code. Let me just join page. Oh my. So here's the UI UX screen. So here's the screen flow. We're going to have a home screen here. And then we're going to have, oops. Okay. So we have a home screen. We're going to create a match and there's going to be a lobby screen. And then from there, you can join the screen game and then see the screen results. If you already joined a screen, you should be able to also join, go from here as well. The home screen is here with the code. We have a lobby screen. Dang. Here's the file structure for our whole app. Oh my goodness. This is crazy. Kickoff chaos. So like literally, oh, wow. Okay. So I'm just going to give this implementation phases, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Yo, this is crazy. Future features, post MVP, a cosmetic system, ELO based. Wow. Spacetime start, spacetime. This is awesome. Okay. I think we're good, fam. I mean, if y'all think we're good with this, let me know in the chat. Oh, you should tell Opus to create a skill for this, and then you can save this skill again and use on this platform for both web and cloud code. So, Niston, is the skill gonna be for how I think you're asking because I have this way of prompting, right? Like yap to app. I think I'm gonna do that. Let's go ahead and do that too. So like this is really great advice because this is like the third or fourth time I've done this. I have a video that's gonna come out this Sunday on how I prompt like this to get like this type of architecture. So yeah, yap to app. I think that's what we're gonna do. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're so back. We are so back. Let's go. 5.2 available in Pro now. Yeah, that's what we've been doing. So what I'm gonna do. Oh, this is what I'm gonna do. I have the stuff published. I'm just gonna have ChatGPT. I'm gonna open up a new window. I gotta get rid of some of this other things. So I'm gonna do ChatGPT. I'm gonna go in here and give it the plan. I'm gonna say with Pro. I'm gonna say I hope that the file is big enough so that we can just kind of do the thing. So kick off architecture, and we're gonna do Pro extended. So I'm gonna have it review my plan right now, that mega plan, and say, are there any other pieces we're missing here to get started with this plan? I want you to review my extended architecture plan because I've never made a game like this before. And I want to make sure I have all the different questions because the goal is to hand this off to an AI agent so we can kind of work through this for us. And we're going to be doing this in a live stream. So we're going to be kicking this off in phases, as you can kind of see later on in the plan. So this is like the longest thinking time. So we're just going to do that. I wouldn't be surprised if this comes back like an hour later after doing an extensive review, because this documentation is like all of this stuff that we were just scrolling through. Like it is massive amounts of lines. Let me see if I can actually open this up in like a new window here so you can kind of see what this looks like. So let's just see how many lines this is. Opus wrote me a 2,274 line spec document. Opus cooked. It nearly wrote the whole code from the web. Oh my goodness. Bro, this is insane. I can't right now. Look at this. We have a table of contents from the spec. This is why you can't just say like, make me $1 billion SaaS, think hard and don't think twice. You know what I mean? Like, you got to start with Opus 4.5 first to make that spec. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen, you're in for a treat right now. Thank goodness, because Niston was on his thinking hat right now from X. If you haven't had a chance, go ahead and follow Niston. He's part of that whole Thursday AI crew. He said, you should tell Opus to create a skill so that we can do this again. And when we make this skill, I'm going to drop it for the folks who are currently in the Discord. You can get access to that skill. I'm going to drop it in because that's how you're going to be able to basically go from yapping to getting an app. And that's just going to be insane right now. We hopefully have the blueprint to unlock pretty much unlimited economic value going forward, right? This is a crazy time to be alive. And it all dropped like right before 2026. Think about that. I don't think I'm ready for this. I love this comprehensive plan and it's really amazing. I want to make a Claude Skill out of this. So in the future, I'm able to tell it some of my ideas for the app. And it's going to be able to use the Exa MCP to do some research and help us make great specs like this in the future, no matter what tech stack we use. So here we go. So, all right, cool. So Claude itself has a thing called a skill builder, and it's going to basically use that and review this entire conversation for what we're going to go ahead and do here. We're going to hit submit. And so it should be able to analyze the entire chat history that we've had here, what I asked it to do, all this other stuff, and it's going to go ahead and build a Claude skill from this. This is a brilliant idea. Let's check the skill creator guide, which is actually the skill itself, to make sure we're able to build this properly. So now it's actually going to go understand what the heck a skill is, load that now into the context window, and help build that for us. Huge shout out to NIST if you have a chance. Also, big shout out to LDJ as well. They're part of the Thursday AI crew, always coming in with that heat for us. So we got a lot of folks in the chat, heavy hitters hanging out here, also trying out the model. Have you been trying out the model? What types of tasks have you been making with this? I'm on the way to make this really cool game, which would be super amazing. 12 days before Christmas. So we're going to try to see if we can do that. So here we are. It's now going to go ahead and create the skill for us. So this skill is called the app architect. And this app architect is basically going to make us production ready architecture for any application guided through discovery and research. So literally we're going to make what someone probably has an app for this to make you like yap to make PRDs, right? So like, can you imagine like we're really just making our own version with skills? And that's what you can do with Claude skills. So with Claude skills, if you have a chat that's worked really well and you got an outcome, just tell it to make a skill for you. Claude already has a skill builder for this. And that way you'll be able to kind of incorporate everything that we're trying to do to make this repeatable. I've done this. If you have a chat where you've already used that same type of chat style twice, go ahead and make a skill for this. This is a really good point to do that. So prepare documentation to create a comprehensive skill. So here's the skill and it's editing the skill file right now. So it's called the app architect. So now it's going to ask first like what we're trying to do, ask category specific information, like some research phases. So like use Exa code context for this. And it's even writing its own like actual terminology that it would use to talk to the Exa MCP. So here's code context. That's a specific tool inside of Exa for Exa MCP and then Exa for web search as well. So like, it's amazing that it already knows it's already there. Obviously it's referencing all the stuff in the chat. There's different phases to this, like the recommended stack and then like the precise generic specs. So here's the like actual template that it will write it all out. Wow, man, this is crazy. And this is amazing. So it's even giving it like a length for how long these specs should be. Yo, this is insane, bro. I'm going to try with a bunch of tools with this prompt. Create a replica of the classic NES soccer game with slides, grab, etc. 5v5, make it multiplayer compatible over the internet, then deploy here. Niston, I'm really curious. Yeah, because that's a very succinct prompt and then see what the coding agents will end up doing. So that'd be what's up. Are you building a spec with GPT 5.2 and executing with Opus 4.5? I'm actually doing the opposite, building it with Opus 4.5 and then having 5.2 see if it can actually execute on the spec. Stoked to see this. I'm very hopeful with GPT 5.2. Yeah. Can we share the skills in chat or not? So the skills files are way too big for the chat. That's kind of why I'm putting it in the Discord. Long time no talk. Sterling. That's what it is. Yes. Sterling is the name of the chat. Not Sterling. Sterling is this guy. By the way, tested 5.2's UI generation, and yeah, it's not purple gradients anymore. Finally. Okay. Yeah. Usually I watch Array on his YouTubes, but cooler on X. I also got to meet Sterling in public, which is really cool. So we got to meet on Lanikai Beach. RIP my career, bro. I think this is the perfect time to learn new programming languages. Like, I'm learning Rust. It's going to be really great. X is very efficient at allowing the model to search the web without bloating the context window. 1000%. Bro, we're creating this skill. This is massive. All right. So now we have our mega plan. And I want to go ahead and create this game. So let's go to cursor. Let's go ahead and create a new window. And let's just start doing that. I mean, I want to start going crazy with this project. So I guess, can I just go ahead and create a new, how are we going to do it? Open project? I'll just say open project. So what I'm going to do is I have a thing called workspace where I put all my apps, and I'm going to do this called, let's see, what should we name this game? Soccer Pro, Ray, Chaos Soccer Chaos, SOCHAOS or something. Sock Chaos, Chaos Soccer, I think, or let's see, Ray Soccer. No, hold on. Let's ask it about a cool name that it can come up with here. So let's see. App architect. Okay. Let's see. Skill. Oh, kickoff. Oh, kickoff chaos. I like this. I think we should just call it kickoff. Yeah, kickoff would be really cool. I like that name. Okay, so we're going to just open the new folder here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop in this like empty folder here, I'm just going to drop the actual spec file that we have in here. So we're going to just, so this is our whole architecture plan. And I'm just going to open this in preview. All right. So we have our full on game, 16 table of contents, system architecture. This is, okay, so let's look at this. So we have Rust, right? WebAssembly. Oh, I didn't even finish reviewing the whole architecture. So we have, here's our clients, player 1, player 2, and then we have spectators and we have a chatbot. All of these are going to be connected via WebSocket, and that's the client-side app. That's going to go to SpaceTimeDB, and SpaceTimeDB is going to expose a Rust module via WebAssembly. So there's this concept of reducers, tables, queries, and scheduled. So the reducers are probably going to just be listening to the moves, and then the tables are just going to be data for like the players and the match and stuff. And then we're going to have queries like match nearby scores and then scheduled jobs. So these queries are probably run at a scheduled rate or a specific thing. And then, so SpaceTimeDB looks like it also has an in-memory database and it's presented via WAL. And then that's going to pipe out to YouTube chat. So YouTube chat basically pulls the YouTube API every 1.5 seconds and then aggregates the votes and then calls SpaceTimeDB reducer with the winning action. So that sounds pretty simple architecture-wise. I kind of like it. And here's the data flow. So the player input captures this, calls SpaceTimeDB reducer, executes chatbot. Okay, this looks great. So this is all the code that we were looking at earlier. Over 2,000 plus lines. Oh, this is scoring, match, and flow. So we have a match timeline. This is amazing. This plan is, Jesus. All right, so, okay, here we go. Now, in cursor, right? So what I'm going to go ahead and do is tell it to help me start building this game. So I have a GPT 5.2. I'm going to go ahead and switch it to a different model, GPT 5.2. But we're going to do, I should have 5.2, like there's different ones like fast, and then we have high fast, and then we have these other ones. So I want to do GPT 5.2 fast. So like it's going to cost me more, but it should be able to move a lot faster, right? So I want to get started on building this app. Help me build the first phase of this app and then kick off chaos. And then I think what I should do is just go back into plan mode just to make sure it has this here. So we're going to do GPT 5.2, and then we're going to do fast. Okay. So let's go fast. So let's go ahead and see this here. So this is a massive plan. It's going to read it in, but then we're just going to say, let's go ahead and kick off phase 1. So literally kick off. Extra long, fast, bro. Extra long, hard, faster, harder, faster. I don't know. $14 for the Discord. Yeah. Like this is a paid only membership for those folks who are like participating. So please don't join the Discord if it's going to cost you too much money or if it's too much money. It's for folks who have like a lot of residual income, who feel like they want to be a part of a community of others. I just did this as a way to kind of like weed out the noise because I've been in so many other Discords where like it's kind of unproductive. And to me, it's just much easier to manage because like less people that join, I don't have to have all these different mods and admins and various things. It's just kind of, easy to go. There's not a lot of noise in the Discord, by the way. So it's just whatever stuff that gets dropped in there. It's just kind of like these little gems. There's also people who are working professionals, so they don't have a lot of time to check like Discords and stay up on all these crazy messages. And so it's sort of like a no noise environment. And so at the starting point price there, which has been going up, by the way, I usually double every so many hundreds of members. It's just a really great way for getting people to show up and kind of hang out. So how are people getting the plan ended on Cursor with $200 a month plan? I don't know. I think my plan is going to die out super fast. How do you want the repo structured? A single repo root, a Rust module in the server, kickoff for phase. So let's see. How do I want the project? So create kickoff chaos folder containing everything per doc file tree, or keep the root as root metadocs. Okay. Let's see. So what I do, single repo, Rust module and server. I'll create a kickoff chaos folder containing everything per doc file tree. I think, yeah, there's a doc file tree in here, and I think we're just going to kick off like the containing the other stuff. So that'd be cool. For phase 1, do you want us to wire a local DB spacetime deployment immediately, or start with a mock client and add? So I want to do the real stuff immediately. So yeah, let's do the real stuff. Continue. These are good questions. All right, cool. So we're going to kick off this game. This is going to be crazy. We're going to build this over the next 12 days. And so hopefully before Christmas, we should be able to land this game and then we can play it live. We should probably, it says it'll take like 6 weeks, but it should probably only take like a couple days, to be honest. But we're going to try to fix bugs and do everything. And then I can invite you with QR codes to try live. And so if you want to tune in, definitely make sure you subscribe to that because this is going to be a really, really crazy build out. This is a massive, massive plan. And in the process, I'm going to learn how to actually write some Rust code or just understand the concepts enough so I can prompt it. And so for the folks who join the Discord, I'm going to have this thing available here for skill. So that way you can basically yap to app. So this is going to be your app architect. You can just do exactly what I just did here. And it's going to basically, Claude is going to ask you those questions and build a comprehensive plan. So if you're going to build a simple app, it's going to be 200 to 400 lines, medium complexity, some with harder complexity. And then you'll see this kind of thing work here. So this is the skill. This has the whole thing going on here. I'm going to go ahead and download all. Okay. Download all these files. Cool. And then I'm going to save the skill as well in my app. So I have an app architect. So this is so crazy how, yeah, cool. Skill updated. Cool. Let me see if I can view this here. So here's my skills. So my skills are here. So the skills I have a scriptwriter skill, and I also have a skill creator, and then app architect. So the app architect is here, and we should be able to try this in the chat. So basically it says generate, so help me plan, and has all those things here. So we'll see how this turns out, but that's really cool that we have this thing here. So let's see what Cursor is doing for us right now with our app. So I'm going to go back to the agent view, so that way it's probably easier to see what's kind of going on here. So let me move these to the side. And so as of now, nice. Given your answers, we'll build the real runnable mono repo in a folder. And so we'll have the connects to local DB plus the Rust module in here. Next, I'll lay out the exact scaffoldings, reducers, and lobby flow. Okay, cool. So it has our whole plan here for plan phase 1. I'm going to save this file, but let me just go ahead and review it real quick. So this is what we're going to do for phase 1. So so far we've used up 67,000 tokens to digest the file that the plan we made, and then make the first phase, which is starting from 0. So we're starting from scratch for this whole thing, and we're going to just do this whole thing live. So phase 1 is stand up a runnable project. Okay, basic tables, great. The decisions are locked in for this, and the work breakdown. So create the Next.js Tailwind app here, and then add Tailwind here. And here's the key files to make next. Add SpaceTimeDB client connections in TypeScript, and then implement the UI for minimal changes. And then we're going to create these things. Okay, cool. So join this, components and hooks, create the spacetime phase 1, minimal. Okay, so here's the data flow for phase 1. It's going to have Next.js, Next UI, I think it's going to go here to spacetime SDK. It creates a spacetime WebSocket to identify someone. And once it connects, we're going to have like a reducers to create the match. And then that's going to send that back with the lobbies. Okay, implementation to-dos. So here's all the stuff. What I will not build in phase 1 explicitly out of scope. Phaser gameplay, moment reducers. Okay, so what I want to do is maybe create a new chat for this, huh? Actually, there's not much to go off of because we should be able to complete this all in one go. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. GPT 5.2 fast is our agent model, and we're just going to go ahead and hit build. So this looks pretty good. So now it's just going to build for us. So we're going to let it do its thing. That's what's up. Where is the skill? I'm in the Discord. Zeddy, if you're in the Discord, I'm going to pop it in after the live stream, and then I'll have it in a little section, and I'll make sure I make an announcement for everyone. So is it very, it's not like necessarily high profile people. It's just more for folks who are able to join. I have a little like membership fee for those who want to join. It's really kind of a fun thing. If you were part of like the first 100 Discord members, y'all got in for like the VIP price. So that's been pretty cool. And so, yeah, it's just kind of like a little cool hangout place. Can you confirm you've accepted the plan and want me to start implementing? So the plan, yes. Oh, yes, I have view plan. I thought I did. Yes, I accepted the plan. So, oh, I see. It didn't turn the plan mode off. Because I hit building up here, that looks like a bug. Okay. Yes. Oh, by the way, 9 hours ago, Cursor released the visual editor. Yes. Yes. I want to see if I can kind of go over that with the other app that I'm building. So, Sterling, I'm doing like a Canoe Club app. And once I just like literally have all the changes here that I need to land and verify. And then once I get the UI going, I want to try to take a look at that builder thing to see how we can kind of go through some editor with that. But as of now, we've gotten already pretty far into the game thing. And I think this is going to be the thing I'm going to start focusing on next. I love that it remembers that I like to use bun. Yo, we're going to kick this off. This is really crazy. Yeah. That's so crazy. So for Cursor, once you pass like the $400 of usage, I think you pay per use after that. So you'll continue to pay per use until your month ends and it kind of resets. So I ran GPT 5.2 extra high for 65 minutes and it ran nonstop. Wow. That's crazy, bro. That's super insane. That's amazing. Yeah. Oh, wow. There were some folks who messaged earlier. I didn't get to their messages. I think I did maybe. Okay. I think we're good. So, all right. So it says, good catch. Create React compiler, which breaks interactive scaffolding. Next, I'll inspect if what we got created anything. Okay. So it's passed in a bunch of options and then it's just running everything. Nice. This is just a scaffolding quirk. The newest create next app created a React compiler prompt and ignores -yes. I'll force the CI. So these are running these little things in the background. It says, aha, search results aren't giving me the actual flag. So I'll refresh the CLI. So basically did some searches here and then it even ran exit code to grab some of the latest things. So it's going to create next app 14. I like how it's using like an old version of Next.js. We'll see how far we get with this. Yeah. Cool. Need more agent builders in the Discord. Yes. Yes, we definitely do for sure. All right, cool. So it's now looking up some SpaceTimeDB stuff. And let's go to the editor view and see what we've done so far. So the editor view has already kicked off like the scaffolding for our app. And so we already see like the next app already in here. And then we also see like our current architecture stuff here. And so that's like the first part of it. And then we're just going to continue watching what the agent is doing here. So here it is kind of doing its stuff. And then this is our big plan for, it's like not the big plan, but it's kind of like it's stuff getting started. So here's what we're going to go ahead and build. Cool. Man, we're doing so much stuff. All right, so we're 2 hours into the live stream. If you're watching right now, make sure you hit the thumbs up. Obviously, share with any friends. Subscribe if you haven't had a chance to, because what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be building this game. And so this game is going to be pretty epic, like a full-on multiplayer game. You're going to be able to play with me live on the chatbots. You can also scan a QR code to join in. It's going to be a really fun little soccer game, kind of like NES throwback style. And I've never written a game in Rust, but we're going to try to figure this out. We're going to be using Cursor here. We're using the GPT-5.2. We use Opus 4.5 to build out our entire architecture. So that entire architecture has already been built out into over 2,000 line spec file. Amazing. It's really, really beautiful. It has tons and tons of detail. That's already here. We're just working on the first phase of the app in Cursor. Started off with plan mode, and it's kicking off the build. We're starting from scratch, literally from zero. Thanks to someone here in the chat who told us about SpaceTimeDB. That's going to be used for some of our game infra. And like we're going to learn how to do this stuff live, and you're going to watch me fumble along. So tomorrow I'm going to show up and we're going to continue to build out this game. And it's going to just be super insanely fire. If you're a part of the Discord, if you haven't a chance, rfer.me/Discord. I actually have this pinned as a comment. Let's see, https:/rfer.me/Discord. You can join in on the Discord, and I'm going to share the Claude Skill. I'm basically going to share everything as I go. So for the folks who are in there, I can attach the files. And in there, I'm going to have the skill file that I use to actually yap myself and build this whole architecture thing. If you want to build the skill itself, you can go ahead and follow the steps. If you're going to be rewatching, for example, you're rewatching this live stream later on, I'm going to have the time steps available after the live stream ends. And so that way you can go back to those specific sections and see where we are at and kind of follow along that way. I have been fortunate enough for all the people who've been able to join the Discord and support me through the memberships here on YouTube. I have actually hired some editors. So the editors now basically go through my live streams and create clips, but they also create like long form videos. And as a result, if you're a member watching the stream, let me know what the type of content you'd like to see. I can either do a live stream on it, or I can make dedicated videos to help you along the way. So a lot of the most recent videos you've been seeing about the 2 MCPs that I use, about how to use the agents MD files, some other stuff that's coming this weekend that you're about to see has all come from members like you who've been able to join. And then all of that basically gets rolled in to make sure we have like the best experience possible. And so my name is Fernando. I used to be an engineer at Apple for over 12 years, and it's been really fun to now leave there and be here, part of this new AI movement. I'm learning as I go. I'm not a web developer. I'm not a Rust developer. I'm not a game developer. I'm just someone who loves to ship software and have fun with these types of things. So I like to play around with the latest stuff. You'll see me play around with Cursor. You'll see me playing around with Droid. You'll see me play around with quite a bit of things. Opus, Claude Code. We're going to get right into it. So this is going to be just completely raw. I like to take a look at these models as soon as they're released because they tell us a lot about beyond the specs. A lot of people are going to spend a lot of time on YouTube rereading these documents and all the different tests that were done. It's so important to learn how like that stuff comes about. And for me, this is kind of like the next phase. It's like, let me get my hands dirty. Let me learn how to prompt better. And then maybe you can learn something along the way. So if you're joining in on the stream, it's so fun to hang out with everyone, like in real time, everyone's sharing back and forth. And I really appreciate y'all for doing that. So GitMax, I really appreciate you, man. Like he's been here forever as like a member too. Niston as well. We got LDJ in the chat. We got like Lisa, who's also in the chat. We got Sterling Cooley. We got like a whole bunch of folks. Ray, who was joining earlier, sharing his stuff. That was kind of the thing. So Cursor Visual Builder, I'm a Windsurf Maxi. Yeah, Windsurf is cool too. I mean, like anti-gravity would be interesting. Like it'd be really cool to see how that stuff turns out. So yeah, that's kind of what's up. So let's see here. Oh yeah, somebody was asking what department. So I was a janitor. I cleaned up everyone's stuff. I was in SWE, or the software engineering organization. So that's kind of what it was. Yeah, I got to work on a lot of crazy secret projects too. So that was actually kind of a cool blog post if you haven't seen it yet. Let's see, rayfernando.ai. And that's actually, let me go here. rayfernando.ai. .com is my photography website, but this was probably the project that changed my entire life and taught me so much about shipping software and working with teams. If you haven't read this article, I can read it for you live. This was insane. So like, I was part of a secret project at Apple that revolutionized the way we update our devices. And it all started with a prototype that had no recovery port. I was sitting in my office and then suddenly I got pulled into the secret top secret project. I mean, it was so hush-hush that it basically had to sign all these NDAs and kiss my holidays and free time goodbye until we finished it. So I show up in the meeting and the manager confirms that I basically have signed all the NDAs. He then pulls off the black cloth and boom, there's a prototype sitting right there in front of me. And my eyes were just massive. And my heart was pounding like crazy because like you don't get to see this stuff until people actually like get disclosures and everything. And so obviously I have a million questions in my mind. So the manager is kind of sitting there and he's like, all right, Ray, you're going to be the guy who's going to figure out how the Apple Watch can update without any problems. So like my heart sort of became the sunk because I know this is like not an easy task type of thing. And so one of the first questions that come to mind is like, all right, cool. I see this little device. It's really tiny. It's just a display on this giant dev board. How am I going to plug this into a computer to like recover it if something actually went wrong? And like, he basically said, bro, like there's no port. And I'm like, oh, I think what I say here is, holy crap, you know, what did I just sign up for? That was pretty much what I was saying in my head. And then he just walked away and just says, you figure it out. And I was like, my jaw was on the floor. I'm like, oh my God, what did I just sign up for? I don't even know what I did, you know? So I ended up spending basically the next several years after that, working on tons of teams across Apple, trying to come up with a solution. And it was super intense, but we actually managed to create this amazing, like reliable update system that could basically, like has gone into every single product from then on forward. You know, with software, everything kind of scales and repeats and so forth. And from there, like that's kind of what has made, you know, possible this new wireless world of like updating devices in an extremely reliable way. Billions of devices have literally updated since like these types of, you know, amazing R&D ventures, but it doesn't come from a single person. It comes from many, many teams who work together on all these products all across the company. And so you have to learn how to be really good with like people with varying degrees of background, have all kinds of knowledge up and down the stack from extremely low level stuff to attention to so much detail that even goes on at a factory, at the way that everything gets like put together. You learn a lot about hardware types. You learn a lot about like solid state drives. You learn about like everything about chipsets that come together to make devices, you know, each single phase. And then the worst part is trying to make sure everything continues to update going back to as far as it possibly can until that device's end of life, which is like usually 5 to 6 years. So you have to think through a lot of different details. And one of the interesting details that I've learned, I need to head out in like 5 minutes, but let me just finish the story. But like one of the craziest parts, like why does the Apple Watch have to always bug me to update at 50%? It's like I had to think through like battery degradation issues. So for those who don't know, like once you have a battery and it reaches like, you know, 500, some of the ones go like early versions of batteries for like lithium ion will do like 200 charge cycles, you know, basically 100 to 0 after so many times. Some of the later versions, like the new like technology that will be able to like lay flat these types of things, can go up to like 1,000 charge cycles. You know, if you have heat and you introduce all these different conditions, at that time, wireless charging was being introduced. So it introduces a lot of heat, and then wireless charging has different things and thresholds for like if the charging gets too hot, it can't continue charging. So it'll say it's connected as charging, but it has to cool down. So you're losing battery. So the system has to account for these things. If you can think about from a chipset level, going to the operating system to the UI, like there's all these different decision trees that have to happen. And so that's just one issue in the update stack that you have to account for and make sure it's reliable. Because if one bad decision can cause devices to like no longer update, which would cause them to like be recalled, and then you have a recall. Like imagine the first devices that came out of the factory, millions of watches, and there was an issue because something wasn't thought through in like just that one level of detail. then instantly like it would be deemed a failure and I would not have a job. Right? So that's like the insanity that like that's only one scenario I'm talking about, by the way. There's many others, up from Bluetooth to Wi-Fi to connectivity to syncing to like, you're talking about chip level things, then you have operating system level things, and then you have user interface level things, and then you have external factors too. So like that's the type of work that I did there. And the level of detail was just absolutely intense. And it was amazing though, because I got to really do my life's work and, work on these detailed products. It's really funny because I now no longer wear an Apple Watch. I stopped wearing an Apple Watch as of almost 2 months ago for like mental health reasons. I actually have a video on Twitter that's going viral that has like 1.2 million views. And it's mostly because like the devices are a gateway drug to my phone, which allow me to get distracted, which kind of take away from me being present, which kind of like introduces more brain fog, if you know what I mean. So I'm kind of going through that type of journey right now. And by me live streaming and talking to you and in building apps, it helps me kind of learn, like what's happening now in the AI space. It helps me kind of sift out like the hype from news to like actually building live and understanding what these systems are actually doing, at the most like level that everyone else prompts with. And hopefully you can take something along the way and learn with me as we go. And so that's kind of a little bit of what I'm doing here. I have a pretty random background, some funny stuff, some cool stories. I have some stories about like meeting Johnny Ive, giving him the Apple Watch and stuff like that. And, being behind the scenes for a lot of crazy stuff too, in the design studio. So yeah, it's a pretty fun history. Stay hungry, stay foolish. On that note, I need to head out to go to a dinner and I'm already like 5 minutes late. So I will see you guys in the next live stream tomorrow as we continue to build out this game. All right, y'all. Peace out.